going to be demolished. Kiana Davis, Kiara Phillips, Carriel McDonald, and Kiani Welch died in the fire, which police have deemed to be an arson. In 2016, a wrongful death lawsuit has been filed against the building's owners with a civil trial planned for 2024. 911 calls, gunshots, and a man killed. That's what state police say happened in Jeffersonville Tuesday. John Herrick reports.
They say one person called police about a man named Richard Glass who was acting strange and saying that he was going back to prison. And then Glass called 911 claiming someone was trying to hack his phone. When police got to his apartment, they say they tried to talk to him, but nothing worked. Plus, he had a gun and fired it at them. A member of the SWAT team killed Glass. State police are looking into it. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
An organization called Communities in Schools, or CIS, has started a back-to-school initiative to improve graduation rates and create jobs in Indiana.
For them, they've got a choice. They can decide to try to build these systems in on their own, or they can hire a partner who's got a track record and now bringing some money to the table to ensure that we are doing this in a collaborative nature.
Ray Saldana, the CEO and president of CIS. Jonathan Taylor has left Colts training camp again, this time for personal reasons, nothing to do with his injury or his contract situation. That's according to the team. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
All right, Kurt, looking at southbound 65. We are still slow. It's better, but slow from the White River down to MLK. That's because of an earlier crash pushed to the shoulder out of the interstate. Also, looking at eastbound 465 on the northwest side, we do have a crash on the shoulder, bagging us up onto the northbound lanes from 86th Street up to 865. Traffic is sponsored by AllworthFinancial.com, helping thousands meet their retirement goals. Discover the power of uncompromised wealth management and unlock your full financial potential. Call 833-GO-ALLWORTH to book your free consultation today. That's 833-GO-ALLWORTH. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
If you're looking for the best Cuban food in Indy, it's Palavana Cubano at the Garage Food Hall in the Bottle Works District. And I'm telling you right now, the best sandwich in Indy is the Cuban Reuben. Every time you bite into that sandwich, it's a flavor explosion.
Yeah, Hammer, I'll send your Cuban Reuben and raise you the best lobster roll in the state over there at Jay's Lobster and Fish Market, again in the Garage Food Hall, Bottle Works District. And I promise you'll probably get addicted to their lobster mac and cheese as well. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
All of your summer fun is in one place at this year's Indiana State Fair.
Today is the greatest value of the summer. Last chance to enjoy $3 Thursday presented by the Indiana Secretary of State, including $3 admission, $3 midway rides, and $3 food options.
Join us for the summertime family tradition that you won't want to miss. Your Indiana State Fair, celebrating the state that grew the game. Presented by Pacer Sports and Entertainment. So much fun, you won't want to be done.
Tony Katz here for 459 Barber Lounge. You want to look your best? You got to go to the best. 459 has highly skilled barbers and stylists with over 100 years of combined experience. They've been serving Indy for over 20 years. They take care of me, and you're going to love your look after a visit to 459 Barber Lounge. They sell beer and wine, and they're open 7 days a week. Newly expanded, newly renovated, across from the Fashion Mall on 86th Street. 459online.com. That's 459online.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Partly cloudy this morning, a few scattered storms in the afternoon, a high of 81. Tonight, scattered storms early, clear and crisp overnight, a low of 57. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Sunny and 67 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, August 17th. It's 7 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. His name is Rob Kendall. You can find him on Twitter, Rob M. Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. You can find me there at Casey Daniels 317. And we're both on YouTube right now. Typing Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar. So, friend of the show, Micah Beckwith, certainly has people throughout the great state of Indiana talking.
Isn't this great? The governor caved and cried uncle. Wasn't this great?
So Micah Beckwith is running for lieutenant governor, and it has people questioning now how we choose the lieutenant governor in this state.
This is great. So when Micah ran and we said this on the show, and you know, Casey, there is nothing I loathe more than having to come on these very powerful airwaves, which are heard from Ohio to Illinois and all points in between, and tell people how right I was. But in this case, we were absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah.
We said when he ran, he was going to totally disrupt everything, because the problem with Micah that the establishment is going to have is he is super likable in person, he's super rock solid conservative, and he is squeaky clean.
Yeah, there's no ghosts in that closet.
There's nothing you're going to hold up against him where you're going to say, ha ha, gotcha. And even if you could, Diego Morales has already set the precedent where, well, we'll just elect anyone if they got an R next to their name. So there's such a low bar for Micah to hop over. And Micah found a flaw in their little cabal system where the lieutenant governor gets elected by delegates, not by, hand chosen by the establishment. And it is just, as to steal a line from Animal House, a little known caveat in the system. And he has exploited that with an incredible campaign so far where he's hitting all corners of the state, and people like him when they meet him in person. They like his message when they meet him in person, and they like the idea of having a check and balance, which is not beholden to the governor in the Indiana State House.
So for years, the lieutenant governor has been mostly handpicked by the person running for governor.
30 years now.
And then Micah said, no. It's actually the delegates who get to pick the lieutenant governor. So Micah is going straight to the delegates to try and get their vote. And now Eric Holcomb in on this.
Yeah. So what the brilliance of this was, and I knew this would happen at the time, these political structures are, and I've heard this described for big business or whatever before, they're like a large dinosaur in the sense of they don't move quickly. They don't adapt quickly. The institution is the institution, and when you have institutional people like Eric Holcomb and Kyle Hupfer running the system, they're not set up to think on their feet. And so Micah caught Holcomb and Hupfer and the rest of the goon squad flat-footed with this, and so they don't know how to respond to it because the system is set up to be a rubber stamp. But the system is also set up that if you have a smart, creative person like Micah, that it isn't actually a rubber stamp. And now Holcomb, Hupfer, the rest of the establishment totally is in a box because, well, if we try to change the system now, they're mad he's running. Don't kid yourself. These people are livid that Micah is running and doing very well. But they're caught because now the game has already begun. The race has already been started to be run. And if they were to change or try to change the rules in the middle of the game, they know there would be just tremendous backlash from the delegates, from the base of the party, etc., because these people are going, no, screw you. We like Micah. We like the message of independence. We like the message of conservatism coming from that office because we're sure not getting it from you people. And so they're caught, and they have to figure out a way to a new way to scheme and scam the system. And I think that's what Holcomb and Hupfer are doing because they both come out and said, well, we are in favor of the delegates picking the nominee. And it's like they're now retreating. It's like when Washington started getting wins against the British, right? The British were like, well, crap, this wasn't supposed to happen. Let's retreat and live to fight another day. They are totally caught off guard here. And the only play for Holcomb was to come out and say, well, I support the delegates picking the nominee.
Of course he's going to say that. What else is he going to say? He's not going to go, no, I want to hand pick the person. Of course he's going to say that he supports the delegates choosing the lieutenant governor. He said when he was running that he was fortunate that he had the delegates' support. Did they even know that they had an option?
He was handpicked by Mike Pence after Sue Ellspermann, magically, Casey, of 7 million people. So, you want to do a history lesson here?
Sure.
I mean, it's a little early, but kids are back in school. Maybe we should be doing history lessons too. Let's talk about the cabal for a minute, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, because this is the very sort of thing Micah Beckwith is running against and is about to upend, because I think whoever the handpicked toady by the governor nominee is going to get beat up one side of that convention hall and back down the other. So Mike Pence was about to get his ass handed to him by John Gregg because Mike Pence was a horrible governor who was wholly unlikable, and there were multiple polls showing him in very big trouble. And Sue Ellspermann, who was his lieutenant governor at the time, was told, we are going to go super negative against John Gregg because we have nothing to run on, and that's the only chance we have to win re-election is to be super negative against John Gregg. Sue Ellspermann is a very nice person and said, I am not doing that. You're on your own, Palsky. So they had a gigantic problem where they had a lieutenant governor who was not politically aligned with the governor. Sue Ellspermann's not a conservative to begin with, and she wasn't going to go negative. So they had to get rid of her. Well, she just wasn't going to go willy-nilly into the quiet good night. So magically, Casey, of 7 million people in the state of Indiana, it just so happened that Sue Ellspermann, ta-da, was the most qualified person to run Ivy Tech. So they found a sweet-ass little landing spot for her over at Ivy Tech. And at the same time, they had a big, gigantic problem because Eric Holcomb was in dead last in a U.S. Senate primary where he was completely out of money and was reduced to shooting baskets in all 92 counties as a campaign strategy. But he was polling just enough votes from Todd Young that Marlin Stutzman was going to breeze into the U.S. Senate and be the Republican nominee over there. And, of course, we can't have any conservatives in the United States Senate, Casey, especially not ones from Indiana. So you can either be a believer in the biggest coincidences in the world, or you can believe that the cabal in action landed Sue Ellspermann over at Ivy Tech, which opened up the lieutenant governor's position. And you can believe that Eric Holcomb, who couldn't run an Arby's if his life depended on it, was the most qualified person of 7 million people to be lieutenant governor. Of course it wasn't. He becomes lieutenant governor. All those votes go to Todd Young. Todd Young becomes a senator, even though he didn't get the signatures. And everybody in the establishment is happy. It's a donor and lobbyist Christmas miracle.
I'm really surprised that Eric Holcomb actually even commented on this because it's not going to affect him one way or the other.
Well, I think he didn't have a choice. And I think what they had to, because of Micah's success so far, I think he absolutely had to come out and say something because there was immense pressure building, and you're the governor and you're the face of the party and you are the head of the Republican Party. And I think the fact that Hupfer had already come out and said, well, I guess I'm in favor of the delegates. They're scheming and scamming something. They're going to try to screw, not just Micah, they're going to try to screw you in some capacity because that's what they do. And they just got embarrassed at the last convention with Diego, and they're not going to let it happen again.
It is 15 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. You want to get into these new iRead scores?
Yes. Let's take a break and get back into this because this is a pathetic indictment of the mismanagement of our government by Eric Holcomb and the Indiana Republican Party. And kids across this state are suffering because all this state does, all the Republicans do, is just blindly throw money at things with no accountability whatsoever.
All right, that's coming up with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Nigel.
On the campaign trail, Ron DeSantis went to a couple different places.
I'm a very hardcore Trump supporter. This is the most important vote that we're going to have.
Who would be better at legislating, beating Joe Biden,
restoring this country to what the founding fathers envisioned?
Your heart against your mind. Trump against DeSantis. Who you got?
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm a grandson, a son, I'm an employee and a mentor. I'm a father to 2 beautiful kids and a husband to an amazing wife. And I have a substance use disorder. In other words, I'm living in recovery with an addiction. And now that you know, will you let it change how you see me? It's okay to see my addiction, but I want you to know it's people choosing to see me as a person that changed my life.
See the person, not just their disease. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org.
Dive into the summer of Jeep with York Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Plainfield. Dreaming of a new Jeep Compass? Yours for just $319 a month. Or take on the new Grand Cherokee at $359 a month. Get employee pricing on a new Jeep Gladiator. You pay what we pay. This month only at York Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Start your next deal at YorkCDJRofPlainfield.com.
We're not number one.
You are.
You're number one at York.
When someone you love is the victim of a wrongful death, it's a terrible tragedy. What's also a tragedy? When the insurance company doesn't want to pay what you deserve for your loss and suffering. I'm attorney Darryl Isaacs, the Hammer, founder of Isaacs & Isaacs Personal Injury Lawyers. We've recovered over $1 billion for our clients, including a recent $10 million wrongful death jury award. There are strict time limits to file a wrongful death claim, so please go to WeWin.com for your free case evaluation.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. When a restaurant closes, my reaction is, that sucks. They had good steak. When regional banks close, or 3 of them close overnight, it freaks me out. This is why I have my own personal gold reserve. It's part of my personal protection plan. Call my friends at Oxford Gold Group. Call 833-404-GOLD. 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
I hope you've got a fork because you can stick it in yourself, because I think your show's about over.
You're done.
That's good stuff.
Good morning. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, 19 minutes after 9. And the new iRead scores came out, and they showed no significant progress. And this is among Indiana's third graders. For the past year, 1 in 5 Indiana third graders are going to need additional support to build their reading skills back up.
This is so crazy, Casey, because in budget after budget, the Indiana Republican Party, who controls absolutely everything, we get all the time, why aren't you mean to the Democrats? What am I going to talk about? They don't control anything in Indiana state government. Republicans have supermajorities. The Democrats don't matter. Everything that is going on is the fault, good, bad, or indifferent, of the Republicans. And every budget, they continue to throw record amounts of money at the angry red-shirted teachers because they're very afraid of the angry red-shirted teachers coming to the State House and screaming at them. And every year we fail to see any progress. And once again, this has happened. The extra money, other than making us poorer, because that's where they get it from, Casey, it doesn't grow on a money tree. They take it and extract it from the citizens, is not producing better results when it comes to kids progressing in their education.
Okay, so we're talking about money and budget. Well, let's look at that. In 21, $150 million from the State General Fund for the Student Learning Recovery Grant Program.
Oh.
And just this past year, they appropriated $35 million for learning recovery. And overall, the budget appropriated $100 million.
Oh, okay, so that's really important. You just said learning recovery, and we're going to say this in English because this is what government does. They do word salad so you don't understand and so you can't hold them accountable. When we say learning recovery, we are talking about the learning deficit that took place because Eric Holcomb, head of the Indiana Republican Party, shut the state down in 2020. And that included pressuring schools to shut down as well. And the Indiana General Assembly, controlled by which party, Casey?
The Indiana General Assembly?
Yes, controlled by which party?
The Republican
The Republicans,
Party.
that's correct. The Republicans did absolutely nothing to stop Eric Holcomb. In fact, they've done so little. He could do that again today, and there's nothing that would prevent exactly what happened in 2020 from happening again.
And isn't that how the lieutenant governor got her nickname, Silent Suzanne?
Oh, yes, old Silent Suzanne, who said absolutely nothing. She's in on this, too. Good call, Casey. Silent Suzanne in cahoots on all of this. So what you have is the governor, against objections from parents and people with common sense, who looked at the data on COVID, and your child was a victim of this as well because she was still in school when all this happened.
Yep.
Said, look, the data is very clear. Kids are at almost zero risk of some sort of serious illness if they contract COVID. What they are at risk for is serious issues on their learning and their education and their ability to be productive members of society if you remove them from the classroom. Holcomb and the Republicans put a giant middle finger in the face of all those parents, and now, as we are seeing and the data is showing, and again, second segment of the day where we got to talk about how right we were. We were right, and they were wrong. These people are morons, Casey. Holcomb, Rod and Todd, the Flanders boys. You shouldn't trust them alone with one kid, much less the millions of kids in the state of Indiana, and they blew it again, and now they're trying to buy their way out of it, and it isn't working.
Okay, so the results were really stagnant because a year ago we were at 81.6% of the students who had reading mastery, and this year, guess where it's at? 81.9%.
And think about how little this computes, Casey. I will keep talking about this. It's not going to change, so I guess we will just keep talking about it until we're told our services are no longer needed on this radio station. On one hand, you have the Indiana Republican Party, who every single budget says, oh my gosh, public education is so out of control, we must every budget throw record amounts of resources into getting kids into charter schools, into private school, into changing public school if they want school choice. We'll throw it under one umbrella of school choice. So on one hand, you're saying that, and I agree with them on that. The public education system as a collective is a colossal failure. It is administrator heavy. It is enriching and empowering people who don't actually care about your kids. I'm not talking about many individual teachers, but unfortunately, everybody's lumped into the same stew. The public education system is a failure. The Republicans admit that based on the emphasis of school choice. Yet on the other hand, you feed this beast that you claim is completely out of control by throwing record amounts of money, most of it unaccountable, to the angry red-shirted teachers in the public education. How can both of these things be happening at the same time?
Now, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you recall who is the bronze sponsor of the Republican State Dinner?
Well, Casey, that would be the angry red-shirted teachers union. $5,000, right?
Uh-huh. One hand washing the other.
And this is when you see the priorities of Eric Holcomb, who is the face, who's the de facto, the Mr. Big of the Indiana Republican Party and the leader of the state. He is totally in bed with the teachers union. They've said so many great things about him, how much they like his policies, about how much they like how he's put things forward that appeal to them. Holcomb is a Democrat. Let's just call it, right? If you were to say it, we're going to remove the names, and I'm going to give you a description of a guy. Casey, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Pretend you don't know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Kev, are you ready? Okay, Kev's nodding in agreement. Largest tax increase in state history. Mm-hmm. Tax increases every single year. Mm-hmm. Biggest government in state history. Biggest budget in state history. Shut the state down. Mandatory masking. Wholly endorsed and supported by the angry red-shirted teachers union. Lets domestic terrorists write police reform bills. Calls law-abiding citizens human petri dish, but rioters and looters noble. What party would you say that person is?
Yeah, it sounds like that's the blue Democrat
Exactly.
Party. Yeah.
Eric Holcomb is a Democrat, which it blows my mind that people are like, well, we got to vote for him because we could have a Democrat in there.
You do have a Democrat in there.
Thank you. Yes, you absolutely do. And so the point on all of this is money. The answer is not lack of resources. The issue is what people are doing with those resources. And when you just blindly throw money at government, which is what the General Assembly and Holcomb do year in and year out with public education, the money isn't used wisely and it isn't used to help kids. It is used to pay six-figure salaries and sweet-ass benefits for administrators who are not only are they not solving problems, they're creating problems.
Mm-hmm. Well, and maybe it's also stupid to base success and teach standardized testing as well.
And you know who you blame for that? And real quick, I know we got to get to a break. We're going to talk about this guy next segment, so this will be a great teaser. Mike Pence is to blame for this because Mike Pence campaigned when he ran for governor. One of the many lies that he told, I mean, we're all talking about lies and fibs these days with Mike Pence, was I'm going to get us out of Common Core. I'm going to be the guy that removes us from Common Core. And when Mike Pence got in there, and I know I was there at the time, is Mike Pence is addicted to federal money, just like most Republicans are. They want to badmouth it and talk out of both sides and say this and that. They're addicted to the money, just like the Democrats. Mike Pence removed us from Common Core, air quote, but then was so addicted to the federal money, and the federal money has standards where standardized testing comes from, He opted us back into 90% of Common Core and called it something different. We still have Common Core. Mike Pence just tried to hoodwink you into, hey, if we call it another name. And in the process, Casey, it cost our state $100 million for this little money changer event that Mike Pence went through. So nothing changed. All the stuff is still in place. It just cost you $100 million as a taxpayer.
We'll get more from 2% Pence coming up. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Rob, I know it's early, but I want your brain working. I've got a math question for you.
You fire it at me, Casey Daniels.
What's 12 times 3?
Well, let's see. You got 12, you got 24, 36.
Very good. You're so smart. How would you like to get a 36% bonus when you invest your money?
Bonus? That's free.
Yeah, so if you invest $100,000, you get a $36,000 bonus.
Wow.
And if you invest $200,000, you get a $72,000 bonus.
Boy, that sounds splendid. Hey, it's Kendall and Casey, you know, because you're a listener of this radio show. Not only can you get a 36% bonus, you can also get a competitive return, an average of 7% a year for the past 10 years. Plus, your money is backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world. To learn more, call Bill Demery, your retirement guy and all-around great friend of the Kendall and Casey show at 317-932-9912.
This 36% bonus, it's not going to last long, so go ahead and call him today, 317-932-9912. That's 317-932-9912. Past performance is no guarantee of future returns.
We buy any car. Selling your car by yourself can lead to some strange encounters.
So how many bodies does this car hold? Bodies? It's a 5-passenger car. Right. Passengers.
Don't deal with selling it yourself. Come to WeBuyAnyCar.com instead. It's easy. You get in, get out, and get paid at a fair price.
I sell mannequins. Oh, what'd you think? Nothing. Nothing at all.
Get your free online valuation now at
WeBuyAnyCar.com. Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They don't want him to do it. It's 67 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Former President Trump is being urged by his legal team to cancel a planned news conference for Monday. Trump had promised to present evidence that he said would exonerate him of criminal conspiracy charges in Georgia. The former president's legal advisors told him that holding the news conference would complicate his legal issues. A Georgia grand jury indicted Trump and 18 co-defendants earlier this week, accusing them of trying to meddle in the Georgia's election process in 2020. The number of people killed in the Hawaiian wildfires keeps rising.
Just over a week since the deadly wildfires, 111 people have lost their lives. Lahaina on the west side of Maui, just block after block, unfortunately, completely destroyed. 90% of the structure is gone. Cadaver dogs, over 40 of them on the ground as they are still searching for the remains of souls that have lost their lives.
Fox's Robert Ray. And now the stock report. We're in the green to start the day. The Dow is up 52 to 34,873. The Nasdaq up 57 to 14,999. And the S&P 500 is up 13 to 4,433. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Watch parties aren't what they used to be.
Welcome to today's matinee.
Ever since we got Xfinity, my little sister and her friends can easily stream all their favorite stuff.
We'll start with 2 episodes of Top Chef, then Chopped.
When I was a kid, we'd worry about buffering. Now they just worry about what's on the charcuterie board.
Enjoy these fine meats and cheeses.
These are just cut up hot dogs and spray cheese.
Indeed.
The best way to stream your favorites is on the Xfinity 10G network.
Introducing the best value in live TV and streaming on the best network with Xfinity Internet and Now TV. Now through August 28th, get internet on the Xfinity 10G network for $30 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, add Now TV with Peacock Premium, a $5.99 a month value included at no extra cost for just $20 a month. Switch today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Now TV requires Xfinity Internet. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Stream Top Chef on Peacock.
What is 988? It's a way forward. It's a listening ear. It's whatever help you need, when you need it. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline offers trained crisis specialists, ready to talk to you 24/7. If you or someone you love is experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis in their life, call or text 988. Want more information? Visit 988indiana.org.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
He's gearing up for the debate minefield. It should be a good one to watch. 9:33, it is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Of course, I'm talking about 2% Pence. So a man at the Iowa State Fair asked him why did he commit treason on January 6th, and he responded by asking the man to read the Constitution. He said he recommended.
Yeah.
Recommend he read the Constitution because by the grace of God, he did his duty.
You know, Kev and I were having a conversation off air about maintaining your youthful beauty and how things maybe aren't as they once were. Mm-hmm. And it just dawned on me, you know who Mike Pence has become? Because it's been the same pathetic song and dance, which has now been exposed as a giant con to the masses for 23 plus years now. Mike Pence is the guy, is now the 50-year-old dude with the backwards hat who is still hanging out in Broad Ripple. That is who he is. It is the same song and dance. And it's like you are the only person impressing yourself with this same tired rigmarole.
I can't imagine Mike Pence in Broad Ripple.
Oh, well.
Having a cocktail.
Right, but this is the equivalent of that, where it is just the same, it's just the same cadence, the same words, the same everything. Let it go, dude. You're done here. And we are just pointing and laughing at you at this point.
When you were talking about Mike Pence earlier and you mentioned how he was the one who got us off of Common Core, but it's just a new name.
Yes.
And then I realized, isn't he the one that also introduced Obamacare 2.0 to the state of Indiana?
Yes, but he would,
addicted to federal money.
Would not call it that because you can't run for president expanding Obamacare. So the great con was we'll call it HIP 2.0 because the original HIP, which was Daniels, was wildly popular. And if you look, it continues to this day where Holcomb freely admitted, I kept the emergency declaration open because of all the federal Medicaid money that we were getting because of it. And that was a Pence thing. And you're right. And this is when I talk about the giant fraud and con that is Mike Pence, whether it is, as we said, opting out of Common Core, but not really, whether it is Obamacare, but we don't call it that. This guy should be on an episode of American Greed as a giant fraud shyster, and people are just sick of it. It's like, dude, turn the baseball hat around, start hanging out at a townie bar somewhere because you're too old, let go, it's over, to quote the great philosopher Eminem.
So Mike Pence is going to have to gear up and get ready to be asked questions about January 6th because they're already coming, and now he's being asked questions about things happening in Georgia.
Well, and he is such a politician that he knows he's caught in a lie because his words from what was going on in January of 2021 totally don't match what he's saying today, but he just doesn't care, Casey. And I hate to just provide evidence for the blanket statements I'm making, but in this case, I think we do have some evidence, which will use words from today versus words in the time and allow people to draw their own conclusion. So this was yesterday where he is very adamant that the election in Georgia, well, it wasn't stolen.
This president and his allies have said for now more than 2.5 years and continue to insist to this very hour. The Georgia election was not stolen, and I had no right to overturn the election on January 6th. It's a hard truth. My friend Governor Brian Kemp said it well yesterday. He said, for nearly 3 years, Anyone with evidence of fraud has failed to come forward to provide evidence in a court of law regarding the Georgia elections.
Okay. And if Mike Pence had said that from the beginning, I would disagree with him, but I would say that is a very principled person who is totally missing the boat and missing the point and asleep at the switch. But wow, Casey, that really is a very principled person.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the internet is forever. And, well, on January 4th, so this was not 2017, this was January 4th, 2021, Mike Pence in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
See how I did the Pence cadence there?
Yeah.
In Georgia, said this.
You know, I'm here because I stand with President Donald Trump.
Wow. Huh. Crazy.
And I'm here because we stand with Senator David Perdue and Senator Kelly Loeffler.
Okay. Fair
You know,
enough.
I know we all got our doubts about the last election.
What?
And I want to assure you,
Uh-huh.
I share the concerns of millions of Americans.
Whoa.
About voting irregularities.
What? Voting irregularities?
I promise you, come this Wednesday,
Uh-huh.
we'll have our day in Congress.
What?
We'll hear the objections.
Oh.
We'll hear the evidence.
Uh-huh.
But tomorrow is Georgia's day.
Now, look, Casey, I get that
Pandering. Pandering.
I am. You're going to have to step in on this one, and we'll have Kev in here too, maybe, because I am totally biased, and I loathe this guy, and I have known for a decade or more now what a complete and total fraudster he is. So I can't give an objective opinion on this, but it certainly sounded to me like that was a guy who had serious doubts.
He was questioning
about the election and about the election being on the up and up. And since he said it in Georgia, one reasonable person might be led to believe he had some doubts, or led that crowd stadium full of people to believe he had some doubts about Georgia's election.
Yeah, he certainly has changed his tune, hasn't he?
These people are shameless. And Mike Pence is right at the front of the line in terms of just totally pathological liars who are completely shameless. And the best part about 2024 is we are going to be done with Mike Pence forever.
Of course, Trump maintains that he did nothing wrong, and he's claimed that the cases against him are politically motivated and un-American, which prosecutors deny. And speaking of those prosecutors, the Georgia prosecutor is seeking a March trial date for Trump and the 18 others.
Casey, we've got a few minutes here before we're going to be joined by Jim Merritt. Kev, number 5 for us. Number 5. I'm going to skip around a little bit.
Okay.
I think this might be the creepiest thing Joe Biden has ever said publicly.
Yeah.
Let's play it and then do a deep dive here, shall we?
Okay.
So there is, to set it up, there is a group of children behind him. He's doing some sort of press conference. Look like the maybe teenage at best age kids. And he said this.
I want to say one thing to your children. I know some really great ice cream places around here. And Daddy owes you. Okay? So talk to me afterwards.
Daddy owes you.
I know some, what do you say, some really great ice cream places around here.
Yeah.
Something in between that was really weird.
Yeah.
And then Daddy owes you.
Yeah.
Can we, one more time, just so I remember all the things that he said in that very short window?
I want to say one thing to your children. I know some really great ice cream places around here. And Daddy owes you. Okay? So talk to me afterwards.
Oh, talk to me afterwards.
Yeah, come find me.
He's
We'll get some ice cream.
He's just short of a white van with blacked out windows.
Get in the van. That's exactly what I'm thinking too.
This is super creepy, right?
So creepy. Creeping chief. Why can't he not be creepy around kids? Sniffing them?
Well,
wanting to buy them ice cream?
Casey, there's a word for people who behave inappropriately with and around children. And I think we all know what that word is. And Joe Biden appears to have many of the character traits of a person who does that. And that would be weird for any person to say. It's especially weird and totally tone deaf for a guy who has been videotaped multiple times, having inappropriate contact at best, what the average person will look at and go, that's weird, with young children. And they are fully aware of the perception of him by many people. And for him to get up there and say that is just creepy beyond belief.
I seriously doubt that was in the note cards. That was him ad-libbing.
Can you imagine being the person that is his, I don't know, handler, whatever? I mean, there's somebody there that has to be, like in the cartoons.
Cleaning up his mess.
The cartoons where they'd have the giant cane so they could pull somebody off
the gong. Someone hit the gong. It's over. Time to move on. I want to play the other clip if we can really quick. This is him on the second anniversary of the botched Afghanistan withdrawal.
We're not going to have time to do that.
Not going to have time.
Yeah.
He was yelling at us.
We'll get to
in
it
the
next
same
hour.
speech, he goes from being totally creepy to yelling at us.
We'll get to that next hour. But when we come back, Jim Merritt's going to be with us, talk about Holcomb backing down on the delegates at the convention. We've got this Irie disaster. We've got this weird Caitlin Bernard award that was pulled back.
The Torchbearer Award.
So much to get to with Jim Merritt.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, of course it's political. But what are you going to do about it? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
The U.S. home price index is on the rise and interest rates are stabilizing. The market is turning more seller-friendly. If you've been waiting, now may be the best time to sell your home. Find out with the agent I recommend, Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried about settling for less money with a low-ball instant offer. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Rich and Cindy in Greenwood had to say about working with Mark Dietl. It was time to move into a place that could give us a little daily help. We hired the Mark Dietl team, and they closed on our old place in 1 week with a cash offer. The whole process was easy and professional, and we came away with the money we needed for our next phase in life. Call for all the details. Call the agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl, 317-755-4232, or go online to markdietl.com. That's markdietl.com.
Take as little as 3 minutes to see if you could save on motorcycle insurance with Progressive. Come on, you've spent more time than that thinking about helmets with faces on them.
I should get a new helmet. Ooh, maybe I'll get one of those ones that looks like a face with painted teeth and eyebrows, Oh, that always looks so cool. People are like, whoa, is that a person with two faces? Oh, no, it's a helmet. And one face.
Get a quote in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Georgia Street tailgates are back, presented by Peterman Brothers, August 19th at 4 p.m. prior to the Colts preseason game. Enjoy tasty food and drinks like Jack Daniels-inspired cocktails or a beer from New Belgium Brewing featuring Fat Tire and Bell's Hazy Hearted served up by Walk-On Sports Bistro. Test your quarterback skills at Academy Sports and Outdoors booth or connect with the VA and more. There will be a DJ mixing on the Jack Daniels free stage and admission is free. The Georgia Street tailgates this Saturday starting at 4 p.m.
Now don't you grow on empty ledges or lonely cradle songs. Billy the Kid was just
93 WIBC. It is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's here, and it is the most liked man in all the state of Indiana. 30 years in the Indiana Senate. The great Jim Merritt. How are you, my friend?
Robert, I'm well. Casey?
Hey. Good morning.
Hey,
so let's start with the Indiana Capital Chronicle had this article about the iLearn scores. And, they're not really very good. And by not good, I mean not any better than really they were before, which is wild, Jim, because the state legislature and high tax Holcomb have thrown about $1 gajillion extra dollars at public education the past couple of years. And it doesn't seem we're getting anything for our money. What saith you?
I think it's a terrible report. And I'm very concerned about iLearn, number one, but two, I'm very concerned for, and more importantly, our kids. And obviously, shutting down during the pandemic was the wrong solution to that crisis, and we've learned that, and hopefully we won't do it again, because our leaders have got to understand, they've got to have after action reports that shutting down schools, shutting down society does not work.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because every decision these people being Holcomb and the legislature, seem to make is wrong, and yet we keep letting them do the stuff. And why would you not have thought that if you shut the schools down and you go to this e-learning bull crap, especially for something that wasn't even affecting kids were fine during COVID, data after data showed us that you wouldn't think, wow, that's going to have some really big ramifications, but yet they seem to be looking around going, well, what happened here?
Well, that's the whole thing also, but if you remember during the pandemic, it was quite clear that children were not being affected by COVID, and there's got to be some flexibility, and there wasn't nationwide. And there's a lot of people around this country that were affected by COVID, but also, just like you say, a gajillion kids who had a lot of what they call learning loss, and they've been trying to pump money into the system from the federal government, and as we know, the CARES Act that went down and funded schools. And I was counting the other day, it's $300 or $400 million that the federal government and state government is trying to catch up and they call it learning loss and learning recovery, and it's just not working right now. Let's hope that back in 2021, when the legislature acted in that budget and they threw a lot of money at it, that somehow we're going to get some results. But right now, the results are not there.
Okay, so I want to catch all of our listeners up just in case they're not aware of this information. So there are 82,000 third graders throughout the state of Indiana, and this report came out that says 1 in 5 of these third graders are struggling with reading skills. And last year they were at 81.6% of reading mastery, and this year it's 81.9%, so stagnant. And the Department of Education, their goal is to have 95% reading mastery. Is 95% too high?
Oh, I think 100% should be the goal, number one. But two, that's not exactly third world, but it's in the zip code. Mm-hmm. And I think the citizens of the state of Indiana cannot be happy with that, and it's not acceptable. And I look to our leaders to tell us how we're going to get to the 95%, how we're going to get to the 100%, and where all this money is going.
Well, the reason I ask you about the 95% is because the highest we've ever scored is 91.4%. So it almost seems like it's an expectation that isn't realistic. It can't be met. They've never met 95%.
Well, also, when you talk about the hundreds of millions of dollars, Casey, that we're spending on this, it's where are the parents? I mean, I have 3 kids that we worked day and night to make sure that they could read early on, read Spanish, speak Spanish, and I think there needs to be a participation, and this is a demonstration that you can throw the world of money at a problem such as reading with our kids, and it just might not work. So it's a combination of how we go about educating our children, but also what our parents are doing at home.
Jim Merritt, our guest, we're talking about these pathetic iLearn scores. Okay, so Jim, you're a longtime member of this show, listener of this show. Our least favorite thing to do on the show is where we have to go out and tell everybody how right we were, and we just hate to do that. But we have been saying this now for the past 3-ish budget cycles, maybe 4, that simply throwing a giant briefcase of money at people and going, here, catch, is the absolute worst thing that you can do. And yet the Republicans who control everything in Indiana keep doing that to public education, while at the same time taking another briefcase full of money and going, public education is so bad, we must get people out of public education, and we throw briefcases full of money at charter schools and at school choice. This is just the most bizarre, wimpy way of governance where, well, we have so much money, let's throw it at both sides and hope one of them works.
And we're also asking teachers to be a parent and a teacher and a counselor. And right now the model isn't working. And you and I have talked about this before. When Ball State University took over Muncie schools and took a $12 million deficit and put it in the black right away, you had a appointed school board, and they took the politics out of schools, which is what should happen in most school systems. They turned it around, and their test scores were rising. Parents were participating. This happens, Casey, and it can happen in a school district coming to your home.
Well, and one other thing that you left out that teachers are also responsible for is protection and bodyguards some of the time. But one of the board members almost seems like he turned it around, not on the system that's in place, but on the parents, saying, we got to keep these kids in the classroom. Okay, you're saying that now, but then just a year ago you were saying, hey, stay out of the classroom.
I think we can all agree that parents have their responsibilities, teachers have theirs, and that pandemic shutting down the schools was a disaster, and we are suffering because of it now.
Jim Merritt, our guest, I wanted to real quick ask you about the story we touched on yesterday, which is Caitlin Bernard. She is the abortion doctor who loves doing the abortions and telling people about the abortions and telling the media about the abortions that she performs. She was about to get some sort of award acknowledging women in the state of Indiana.
Torch.
Torch, yes, thank you. And then Holcomb stepped in and said, no, we're not doing that. But he did it in the most wimpy way possible and then said, well, maybe we'll give it to her in the future. What in the world is going on? We are a state with more than 3.5 million women. We are a pro-life state based on our public policy voted on by our elected officials. And we're handing out awards or trying to hand out awards to people whose only claim to fame is, I do abortions and like to tell people about it.
I'll put my right to life, my life credentials, 30 years of right to life support up against anybody. But I will say this, that independent commissions have to be independent. But you also have to set that up so that it reflects the values and the laws of the state of Indiana. And also, Casey, it is so hard to get people to serve on commissions. I'm sure the person that is in charge of this in the governor's office trying to get people to work in government. Government does not have credibility today. There is nothing that people trust about government, and that's a big problem today, and this just adds to it.
Yeah, well, when they nominate somebody like that, and the governor has to step in and say, no, we're not doing that. Of course, people aren't trusting the government.
Well, of course, and set the commission up to reflect the state of Indiana, regardless of the issue. We know where Indiana resides with its conservative nature, and get it done that way. But I've been told there are commission members that voted for her that were not told, and it just was done in such a disorganized and not a clear path for this award.
But Jim, isn't the bigger problem that Eric Holcomb is an elitist and a big government liberal at his core, and he is not a reflection of the state of Indiana. And this is who gets on these commissions, who are people who are a reflection of the governor and the social circles that he hangs in. And then they do something so egregious that somebody goes to him and goes, dude, you got to do something. Well, you, not maybe him directly, but I mean, people in his orbit appointed and approved these people. They are a reflection of Holcomb, and it is, to me, the most glaring instance where Eric Holcomb does not reflect the state of Indiana.
MESS.
Yeah, there you go. That is his entire time as governor, a big old mess. Hey, what are you doing? Where can people find you these
Merritt
days?
in the Morning with Brad Klopfenstein.
Yeah.
And we're going to hear from people like the Marion County prosecutor, the Democrat. We're going to hear from Jefferson Shreve in the coming weeks. And
at the same time, that should be interesting.
Well, we try to have a balance. John Ketzenberger was our guest last week, and Brad and I just love having different people from different corners of Indiana, and it's just a lot of fun. And we broadcast it at Cafe Audrey. Stop there for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
You can find it on Facebook. You can find it on YouTube.
Merritt
in the morning. Yes, Jim Merritt, you are a national treasure, and we love you. Thanks for your general pleasant demeanor and overall fabulous smile.
Thank you.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Whether it's driving a race car, building a business, or just being mom, you gotta solve problems. I'm former IndyCar driver Sarah Fisher, and when my problem was foot pain, the Good Feet store became my problem solver. Having the Good Feet store on your team is like having a great pit crew, helping to keep the feet and body in alignment and well balanced. Now I drive, walk, run, and live life pain-free. At the Good Feet store, they know that foot pain can impede everyday life. It's a constant battle that can affect you physically and emotionally, putting a strain on everything from small tasks to big adventures. As Indy's premier arch support specialist, the Good Feet store enhances the quality of life for anyone desiring to live life without limits. My Good Feet arch supports help me cruise through my days in comfort. See how they work for you with a free, personalized fitting at either one of our 2 Indianapolis locations, or make an appointment at goodfeet.com.
If your leaky chimney is at it again, there's only one place to call. That's Chimney Solutions. Chimney Solutions has over 20 years of experience inspecting, sweeping, and troubleshooting chimney systems. From repairing your masonry to waterproofing to chimney caps, they handle it all with craftsmanship guarantees. The Chimney Solutions team is Chimney Safety Institute of America certified and members of the National Chimney Sweep Guild. Call Chimney Solutions today at 317-757-6979. Online at chimneyindy.com. That's Chimney Solutions.
Turn to us at Koenig Equipment for sizzling summer savings on the John Deere compact utility tractors you need to breeze through your property projects this season. Right now, get 0% financing for 84 months. Or save up to $3,400 cash on select 1 and 2 series models. Don't miss your chance to tackle every task on your land for less. Visit us in-store or online at KoenigEquipment.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up? I'm tired of feeling so bloated. That used to be me. Then I got this.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion. A probiotic, right?
Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Learn more at alignprobiotics.com.
Tickets available now for WhamFest, a festival of wine, art, music, and microbrew featuring the Spin Doctors, Saturday, August 19th at Craig Park in Greenwood. Advance tickets at whamfest.com.
When was the last time you practiced your home fire escape plan? Be sure everyone in your family knows what to do if there's a fire. Get out, stay out. It's your fire safe response.
Your one blood donation can help save the lives of up to 3 people. Give blood through the American Red Cross to help hospital patients. Visit redcrossblood.org today.
Coming up in 2 minutes, there may be another candidate running for governor. Plus, where we are in the murder trial of a woman accused of killing her boyfriend last year, and a young man looking to build his own football legacy. I'm Kurt Darling. I'm Kurt Darling. All that and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
He keeps calling it election interference. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump posted that twice more this morning. But in a new Fox News poll after his 4 indictments, Fox's Gernal Scott reports
53% of those polled say they believe former President Donald Trump did something illegal following the 2020 election he claimed he won. However, 51% also think the Justice Department's probe of him is based on politics. Similar to the former president, when it comes to Hunter Biden's business dealings, half of respondents think his actions were illegal.
Now, the president's son's plea deal over tax evasion fell apart in court last month. He's also facing a felony gun charge, and House Republicans are investigating Hunter Biden's businesses, and if his father was involved, the president claims he was not. The hunt continues in Texas for the gunman who fled a traffic stop last night after critically injuring a Harris County sheriff's deputy. The California police officer is also critical after being shot responding to a domestic dispute. San Jose Police Chief Anthony Mata calls it an ambush.
From a position of concealment, discharged a firearm, striking our officer.
That gunman was taken into custody after a standoff. It's up to 111 confirmed deaths in Hawaii, with many more expected in the burnout town of Lahaina, where Fox Weather's Robert Ray reports.
Just block after block unfortunately completely destroyed. 90% of the structure is gone, according to officials. Cadaver dogs, over 40 of them on the ground, as they are still searching for the remains of souls that have lost their lives over a week ago in these historic, deadly fires.
More than 1,000 people still unaccounted for. There's a hurricane in the Pacific, Hillary, expected to hit California early next week for the first time since 1939 for a tropical storm, which could dump heavy rain on desert areas. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
We may have another candidate. It's 69 and sunny on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Brad Chambers, Indiana's now former Secretary of Commerce, has filed paperwork to form a campaign committee as he intends to run for governor. He would join an already crowded GOP primary field, including Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch, Senator Mike Braun, former AG Curtis Hill, and businessman Eric Doden. Galen Morris is the woman accused of killing her boyfriend back in June of last year. You may remember she's accused of running over him with her car in the parking lot of a bar in Castleton. In her trial happening this week, body camera footage was played of the moment that Morris was told that Andre Smith was dead. They also heard from witnesses who saw what happened. Today should be the last day of the trial. Morris is charged with murder. A guilty plea from a former teacher in Fort Wayne who's accused of having sex with his students. At least 3 now former students have come forward saying between 2016 and 2018, Jordan Miller had sex with them while he was teaching at Bishop Luers. He's pleading guilty to child seduction charges. Senior dogs may have a tougher time getting adopted, but some Hoosier shelters can help them thrive thanks to some grant funding. Sasha Nixon reports.
The Humane Society for Hamilton County recently received a grant from the Gray Muzzle Organization, which works to provide the resources needed to help older dogs. The HSHC is just one of 90 animal welfare groups that will share more than $800,000 in grant money this year. Other winners in the state include Humane Indiana and Indy Humane. Sasha Nixon, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
And the son of former Colts wide receiver T.Y. Hilton is entering his junior year of high school, and Eugene Hilton plays for Zionsville and is hoping to build an already successful football career.
I feel like I've gotten overshadowed a little bit, so just trying to make a name for myself.
As a sophomore, he racked up around 600 receiving yards and already has a lot of offers to play D1 football. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Everyone's talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation, like your neighbor Brett.
We did Galaxy for the sidewalks and also the porch. The porch had a few pits. Galaxy said that was no problem.
Home or business, Galaxy Concrete Coatings got you covered.
Obviously with the front sidewalk and step, so we didn't worry about any kind of slipping. You know, you're concerned about that after rain. And then when it did dry, it didn't spot, it didn't stain. It was just like it had been done yesterday.
Lots of styles to choose from. 4 times stronger than epoxy and a 15-year warranty.
One thing that my wife commented on was how easy the Galaxy coating swept versus just the bare concrete.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com now. That's Galaxy Concrete Coatings. And remember to like us on Facebook. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. We're out of this world.
We moved here recently. I didn't even think twice about calling anyone else but Galaxy to come do this house.
Tony Katz here for 459 Barber Lounge. You want to look your best? You got to go to the best. 459 has highly skilled barbers and stylists with over 100 years of combined experience. They've been serving Indy for over 20 years. They take care of me, and you're going to love your look after a visit to 459 Barber Lounge. They sell beer and wine, and they're open 7 days a week. Newly expanded, newly renovated, across from the Fashion Mall on 86th Street. 459online.com. That's 459online.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, August 17th. It's 6 minutes after 10. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. His name is Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. We're glad you're joining us today. You can follow along on YouTube if you'd like. Type in Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar. So the Fulton County District Attorney, Fannie, what you talking about, Willis, has proposed a start date for the trial of Donald Trump. And that start date is March 4th. And that date is just less than a week before Georgia's presidential primary election, which takes place on March 12th.
Yeah, but make no mistake, this is not an accident, because it gives Trump enough time to get a sizable lead in the Republican primary. And then you have this trial, if indeed this is the date that is set. And then, well, hey, if he's convicted, well, too bad. You're stuck with him, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no doubt. Now, I find it hard to believe because I think the Alvin Bragg trial is supposed to be in February. Maybe I'm just misremembering that, but
that one is scheduled to start on March 25th.
Okay, perfect.
So
right.
just 2 weeks before.
Okay, so there's no way that they're going to allow that to happen. There's no way you can have a guy go from just ping pong from one trial to the next. And then a weird way, the Bragg one is probably the most easily defeatable. So if you can pick where you're going to go, you'd want to go with that one first because you get some sense of momentum. You win that one, it should be an easy win. Now, who knows based on the makeup of the jury what will ultimately happen. But there's no way that would never happen where you just go from one trial to the next. And I mean, unless the defendant really wants that, which obviously Trump does not. So not a coincidence whatsoever that she wants to do this in March of 2024.
Yeah, well, you said he's going to be ping-ponging back and forth. Isn't that the plan? Isn't that why they're doing all of these indictments? Keeping him locked up and busy?
Well, the reality is that Donald Trump's best chance to not go to prison, and I don't say this as someone thinking, oh my gosh, you should totally throw the book at him, is to win the presidency, because there are too many cases that all you have to do is get one of a bad jury or a bad lawyer arguing poorly or whatever in one of these cases. I mean, I would like to, again, make a statement that should just alarm everyone in the populace. Donald Trump has now been charged with more things than John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, BTK, Jeffrey Dahmer. Like where Richard Ramirez, let's throw him in there for fun too.
Yeah.
Is Donald Trump more of a threat to society than Richard Ramirez, BTK, John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer?
If you're Joe Biden, you probably think so.
Yeah. I mean, let's just put that in perspective of what is going on here. You are acting like the guy is some sort of international terrorist who has been scheming and scamming for years. He's like a 24 character, right? I mean, the is imminent threat to society, and it's just wholly ridiculous. And really, for the best thing for Trump would be to get a win in this first trial, if indeed that is the Alvin Bragg trial, and build some momentum off of that, because it's very likely he can push the rest of them if he desires past the election. Man, I mean, it's just the total weaponization of the government against people for political reasons, and it's really scary.
Okay, so a new Rasmussen poll just came out, and it's saying that 60% of Republicans are favoring Trump. So he's got the lead handedly.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's his to lose, and I'm not sure that there's anything he could do at this point that would make him lose, up to and including a conviction. I mean, if one of these cases goes before the election and he gets convicted, I don't think there's anything you're going to do, because people look at this and they're just like, of all the shady, Casey, of all the shady, underhanded people who have held the office of the presidency from both political parties, from the inception of this country, I mean, you have had some really maniacal, awful people at the White House on Pennsylvania Avenue. 1600 Pennsylvania. I mean, I'm trying to say it out loud, and I'm blowing my own mind by saying this out loud, that Donald Trump is where we drew the line.
Yeah. That's what they're doing. So if you've got Donald Trump being indicted and he's spending a lot of time working on these trials, and you've got Ron DeSantis struggling, who's stepping up? Is it Tim Scott? Is that who we're looking at next?
Well, I don't think it matters. I think it's going to be Trump. It doesn't matter if Trump's convicted or whatever. He's going to be. Look, what argument are you going to make at this point, Casey, that somebody who is a Trump voter is going to go, well, you got me on that one?
Yeah. Oh, no, they're not changing their mind.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's just nothing. Like, it's going to be Trump unless there's just some totally unforeseen thing that happens, which with Trump, who knows, you never know. But it's going to be Donald Trump against Joe Biden, and we're going to see how gullible and stupid the American people are, and we're going to find out November of next year.
Okay, so Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's blasting the governor of Georgia.
Large Marge,
yeah,
I love it.
Large Marge. She's blasting Brian
Kevin was
Kemp
going to laugh at that.
For standing with the district attorney, Fannie, what you talking about, Willis, against Donald Trump. You know, she's not on board with it. She's saying that Kemp should be on Trump's side.
Well, Large Marge has an attraction to two people. It's Kevin McCarthy and Donald
Right.
Trump. And Large Marge loves herself some Donald Trump, and it's great, and she's right. And she makes a good point here with this one by saying, hey, look, Mr. Governor of Georgia, who, he acts like he's all appalled by the behavior. This is the same guy who ran an ad saying he's got a big truck and he's going to round up the illegals. So let's not act like, oh my gosh, what abhorrent behavior from someone seeking public office. But you've got this guy, Kemp, tweeting out about Trump and refuting Trump when we played the clip yesterday. It was 1 of 5 minutes. We stopped it at 1 because I was worried we were going to end up in a post office wanted for crimes against humanity if we played 5 minutes of Stacey Abrams' voice of Stacey Abrams saying the exact same thing Trump is saying. The election was stolen. You're entitled to say that in this country. You are entitled to believe and seek all recourse possible if you're a candidate for public office that you were aggrieved during the election process. That is not a crime. You know what is awful is prosecuting someone for political purposes and then fundraising off it, which is what Fannie, what you talking about, Willis, is doing.
Okay, so now it's being rumored, though, that Marjorie Taylor Greene, is trying to vie for a VP position. She was asked,
Boy, that would be a disaster.
Would you be in his cabinet? And she was like, well, it would be an honor to be on a national ticket with Donald Trump.
Oh, my gosh. She would be a disaster. She would be like the worst person he could possibly pick. I mean, if Trump is indeed the nominee, he's got to put somebody out there that, one, gives him something electoral-wise, right? Like, one of these swing states that is up for play, or somebody who can go into those swing states and deliver for him. I mean, it's a real challenge to be the running mate of Donald Trump because you're not only trying to win votes, but you're also playing defense a lot on, and I'm not even talking about these bullcrap indictments. I'm talking about Trump just says and does stuff that is just totally, well, that wasn't in the script. And then it totally deflects from the message you're trying to get out in whatever state you're in. So that is what we would call a high-stress job, Casey, to be Donald Trump's running mate.
She has continued to be loyal to Donald Trump, yet she may be more polarizing than he is.
Well, so here's the difference. There is a part of Trump. Did you know I interviewed the president one time, Casey?
It was a great dream.
He called it a great dream. Mm-hmm. He said he wished every interview could be just like that. Mm-hmm. That is incredibly charming and charismatic. Like, there is a part of Trump, and you see it in the rallies too, where like he'll say things, and you know what I'm talking about, where it's like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. This guy would be fun to watch a ball game with. There's nothing about Marjorie Taylor Greene that you're like, wow, what an endearing person. Boy, she'd just be a blast to pound some brews with and talk about the ways of the world. Mm-hmm. And Trump's got to pick somebody that is endearing to kind of balance him.
Soften it?
Yeah, balance him out.
You know who is endearing, and we were just talking about him yesterday, is John Kennedy from Louisiana.
Yes.
And I was just commenting that, he says stuff that's entertaining, and we need to hear from him again. And lo and behold, he said something entertaining.
It's President Trump has been indicted 4 times in the last 5 months. It's surreal. Politically, it's sort of like a zombie apocalypse. I mean, we're not talking about a DoorDash driver here. He's a former president of the United States, and he is a current active candidate for president of the United States, running against a party whose 4 prosecutors have indicted him. And regardless of what you think about President Trump, this is unprecedented. It's going to really test our political system. I mean, this is the sort of thing that happens in countries whose Powerball jackpot is 387 chickens and a goat. I mean, we don't do that in America. Now, having said that, this is the first time, but I can assure you it won't be the last. There are thousands of prosecutors out there in America, Republican and Democrat, very ambitious. And now that the glass has been broken, I worry about what that means for the rule of law in our system.
I love it when he throws out his Southern charm, even in the worst of times. He says this happens in countries where Powerball jackpot is 387 chickens and a goat. You know what? There are a lot of people right now with the way inflation is and the price of groceries that they would sell tickets for a Powerball jackpot, even if it was chickens and a goat.
All right. Abdul is going to join us next. We've got Todd Rokita once again being one of the most unlikable people walking the face of the earth. We've got all this drama with the lieutenant governor pick. We've got this Caitlin Bernard backtracking that's going on. So much to get to with Abdul.
It's coming up next with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
I alphabetized my soundboard. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. F?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
I have to go to S for Sopranos. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think you got it.
It's so clean now. It's fantastic. Yeah, we have clearly run out of things to talk about. There's nothing else going on in the world.
It's a great world, everything's so.
This show is stupid.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
It's Thursday. That means Sunday is right around the corner. It'll be here before you know it. Let's see, Friday, Saturday, 3 days. You got 3 days. And this Sunday, if you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, I can't recommend enough our great friends at Life Church. You know Life Church, where friend of the show, Pastor Micah Beckwith preaches. And man, Life Church has had such a great impact on my life, on my family's life the past year. And this Sunday, they would love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. Campuses in Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, in addition to awesome online services. Learn more at lifechurchin.com.
Wake up, people. You're optimizing every waking hour of your life. From carpooling kids, to work, to friends, and everything in between. You have to get sleep and a bed that can perform as well as you do. Meet the next generation Sleep Number Smart Bed. It effortlessly adjusts to your shape, position, and movements, learning how you sleep so you learn to sleep better. Night after night. Sleep next level, only from Sleep Number.
It's the biggest sale of the year. Save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed, plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday.
Hey Hoosiers, it's your Congressman Greg Pence. Let's get straight to the point. Joe Biden's policies are not working for the average Hoosier. Inflation is absolutely still out of control. I'm putting Hoosier values first. Promoting energy independence, opposing woke policies, and fighting for our families is my focus. To learn more about my efforts, go to pence.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
At DeLong Landscaping, their goal is to create the best curb appeal and outdoor living space for you. That could mean landscape design and installation, retaining walls, outdoor lighting, pergolas, and fire features. DeLong Landscaping specializes in pavers, concrete, stamped concrete, and decks. Google DeLong Landscaping, find them on Facebook, or call them today to schedule your free estimate at 317-667-5163. That's DeLong Landscaping at 317-667-5163.
Design it before you buy it. For a limited time, receive 40% off all products, plus a free entry door, and 20 months, no interest, no payment.
Trust me. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Who am I supposed to vote for? Am I supposed to vote for the Democrat who's going to blast me in the ass, or the Republican who's blasting my ass?
Politics is just all one big ass blast.
You're gonna get your ass blasted
nationwide.
Now I'm standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, with such a fine sight to see. It's a girl, my lord.
93 WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here, and oh, look who it is. He's an author, he's a broadcaster, he's a provocateur, he's a general pain in the ass of anybody he comes in contact with. The one and only Abdul-Hakim Shabazz. How are you, my friend?
Doing well. Always good to be here, my friend.
All right, so let's start with Rokita. He's back in the news again, boy. He is, man, you want to look up unlikable in the dictionary. There's a picture of Todd Rokita. He is now making life very difficult for the CBD people. What's going on?
Yes, back in January, the Attorney General issued an opinion, basically saying that CBD, THC, that vape or edibles is illegal here in Indiana. His logic and rationale, and this takes a little bit of explaining to do, he's saying that because marijuana is a Schedule I drug, controlled substance, then the THC is also a controlled substance, so you can't include THC in your edibles, vapes, or whatever. And so what's been happening is a bunch of some county prosecutors, particularly in rural counties, that aren't crazy about THC or CBD or any of that stuff, have been basically going to vape shops like, hey, you got to close down because this is a controlled substance, and I've got this opinion from the Attorney General to say that.
Wait. I have a question. So the CBD stuff has been legal and the hemp now for many, many years in Indiana. The world has not come to an end. People have not turned into zombies on the sidewalks. Nobody's really angry about this.
I bought some yesterday.
And yet you have Rokita and these prosecutors like, we must find ways to shut CBD down.
In a nutshell, yes. Now, in the hierarchy of what's called controlling legal authority, this is legal. There are two types of legal authority. There's controlling and persuasive. Persuasive is like, hey, here's what our friends did next door. Your Honor, you should follow this. Controlling legal authority basically says, hey, you don't have a choice. You have to follow X, Y, Z. An Attorney General's opinion is not controlling legal authority. It's called persuasive because state law trumps, pardon the expression, an Attorney General's opinion. Now, Attorney General's opinion is an interpretation of the law, and you can use that and present it in court, but it is not controlling legal authority.
So an example of this would be when Holcomb, high tax, came out in 2020 and said, I am instituting a criminal penalty via executive order for not wearing a mask. And Curtis Hill said, nah, that state law doesn't say that. Holcomb pulled that criminal component out of the executive order, but he didn't have to because Curtis Hill is not, while he was the chief and law enforcement officer, is not the law. He is not the court. It would take a court to decide whether a governor, in this case, could have done that. Holcomb just did it voluntarily.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it is. We got the same situation here. It is Theodore Rokita. Basically, being Mr. pain in the ass cultural warrior.
Is Delta 8 in the same boat as all the CBD?
Yeah, Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, the whole Delta.
But that's a natural product. So is he going to start outlawing dandelions next?
Well, what he's arguing is that it's like meth. It is called cough medicine is perfectly legal, but the derivative of that cough medicine is meth, which is illegal. And so while hemp is legal under the Farm Bill, what the Attorney General is saying is that is a derivative of hemp, and that is a controlled legal substance. That is a controlled substance. Now, please note, the federal government has all but decriminalized marijuana because in every budget authorization bill, there's a little line in there that says you can't use federal money for marijuana possession prosecution. There's a little line in there. So the federal government's decriminalized it. It's around us in all other states. Doug Carter, when Illinois legalized marijuana years ago, I remember sitting down with Doug in the studio and asking, like, hey, Doug, are you guys going to set up roadblocks along I-65 and I-74? Because I got my dispensary in Danville, Illinois, that I'd like to get to on occasion. He's like, no, Abdul, we're not going to be. Like, I-70 is a big drug corridor, number one. Number two, unless you give us a reason to pull you over, because you're swerving or broken taillights, we got other things.
Yeah, but isn't Doug Carter the guy that wanted Rokita to give this opinion?
Doug Carter requested the opinion, also the Indiana Prosecuting Attorney's Council.
Of course,
so those are my next few people to chat with.
Okay, so Abdul's our guest. We're talking about this new, not ruling, but
and by the way, the Hemp Council people have filed a lawsuit. They filed a lawsuit this week to put an injunction on on enforcement of the Attorney General's opinion.
Yeah, okay, opinion. That's what I was asking for because it's not a ruling. But if so, let's say the cops show up at your business and you're a CBD person. Can't you just say, well, the state law says I can do it, and Rokita's not the state law, so kiss off, Mr. Prosecutor Man?
You're probably better off complying with the law right now, then going to court later on.
So wait. So again, the state law specializes very clear what the state law says. There's no the interpretation of blah blah blah. The state law is very clear. You can do this, and you've started a business around this, bank loans, all the paperwork, all the employees, and you just gotta shut down now.
Or not necessarily shut down, but at least remove the product from the shelves.
I thought we were a state
Take it off the shelves.
Yeah.
I thought we were a state that works. I thought we were business friendly around here.
Well, someone forgot to mention that to the Attorney General's office. So the question is going to be, hey, what happened with the lawsuit? I can tell you for a fact it's not going to happen here in Marion County because IMBD said we have bigger fish to fry.
Sure.
Mayor said we got bigger fish to fry. In Hancock County, one vape shop had to sort of get their product off the shelf in Hancock County. I'm not sure about. I don't think it's going to happen in Hamilton or Hendricks, maybe Johnson.
This is stupid, isn't it? I mean, this is stupid that we're wasting our time on this.
But it gives us stuff to talk about.
Well, it's good. I mean, I guess it's good for us, but I'd rather look. I am willing to put myself, the radio content of this show down a little bit if it means protecting people's businesses. I mean, this is ridiculous. Abdul's our guest.
Well, it's not only people's businesses, Robs, but we're talking about people who suffer with inflammatory issues. People take it for sleep, for anxiety, restless leg syndrome, a host of things, seizures. It's not an addictive product either. And he's acting like it's
heroin, and it's not heroin.
It's not.
Yeah, this is just why people hate government. And
plus, there's a vape shop literally right around the corner from where me and the lovely Mrs. Shabazz live. Those people closed down. We're going to have some issues.
Well, it's just classic why people hate the government. It is.
Look, you say white people or white people?
Why? Why? WHY.
Abdul's our guest. Real quick, I did want to ask you, Holcomb, it came out, caved on the delegates picking the lieutenant governor, came out yesterday and said he supports the delegates picking lieutenant governor. Everybody knows Hupfer and Holcomb absolutely 100% do not want Micah Beckwith to be the lieutenant governor. So what's going on here where they have cleared the pathway now for Beckwith to have his best shot to be lieutenant governor? Those guys are scamming and scheming on something, right?
Yes and no. Let's put it that way. How's that for nice lawyerly answer?
Very good, thank you.
Here's my theory. Because the convention will be held in Indianapolis next year, and essentially as opposed to Fort Wayne or Evansville, you have a lot more sort of Holcomb-esque friendly delegates, so to speak, and so you sort of let the natural process sort of take its course. You don't have to necessarily play with the rules because it says the game is already sort of set for you. But then again, also anything can happen. Now, one name I am hearing, and I put this in the cheat sheet that was just out yesterday. Is Noblesville Mayor Chris Jensen is possibly a lieutenant gubernatorial candidate.
Of course, right? Well, I mean, if you were to find a big government Republican who loves to spend public money to help rich people get richer, Chris Jensen would be the picture there in the Webster's dictionary.
Hey, Jensen's my guy.
Well, we've had Jensen on the show. He's a nice enough guy, but he's just a complete moron when it comes to running cities and the roles of government. Hi, Chris. We know you're a listener. Casey, go ahead.
Why is he doing that? Is it because Micah Beckwith led the way, and he's like, well, if he can do it, I want to do it?
Well, no, his name has been kind of thrown around for a while.
Okay.
I mean,
there's another story with the Pence thing, which gets complicated in the weeds. That's also in the cheat sheet.
Yeah, and he's a nice enough guy, but I mean, he is like one of the absolute last people I would want being lieutenant governor. But he endorsed Suzanne, so that makes sense that if it's Suzanne Crouch is the nominee, that she's going to pick somebody that she's familiar with.
She already picked Pence.
Well,
no. Actually, no, she didn't. It's in the cheat sheet. It's a long, drawn out story.
Real quick though, look. They thought this was going to happen with Diego, too, right? They thought, well, he's so unlikable, and he's got this track record where the paperwork says he was fired from the office and was about to be fired again, and the work history, and I mean, just a laundry list of incompetency from Diego, and he beat Holly Sullivan at the convention like a drum.
Yeah, but Holly Sullivan was not the best candidate in the world either, so there's also that. I remember I was speaking at the Morgan County Lincoln Day dinner. Diego was there, Holly Sullivan was there, Diego was working the room, doing that Mike Pence, rubber gloves, passing out food and at the serving table, where Holly just basically sat there in her chair.
All right. So anything else we need to be aware of before we bid you adieu into the great ether? Yes, Casey.
Can I just say, why is Holcomb even weighing in on this? I mean, it's not going to affect him at all.
Probably he was at the State Archive dedication, so it was probably just a question that in the media scrum.
Yeah, for once I think it wasn't his fault, but we all know he's scheming about something. I mean, they have those jokers. Those jokers have something up their sleeve. Hey, what's coming up Saturday on Abdul at Large?
We'll be talking to the vape folks who filed a vape owner, the guy who owns any e-cigs, about the lawsuit against the Attorney General. Also, we're talking to Dr. Katie Jenner about iRead and school starting. And also our friends at Indie PopCon. We'll be talking to them, too.
Very good. The one and only. He's a broadcaster. He's an author, a provocateur, general, all-around decent human being, Abdul-Hakim Shabazz. Thank you, my friend.
Hey, thank you.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Sundown Gardens is gearing up for the fall season. Shop the nursery for fall planning and Miss Mary's gift for fall decor. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road. SundownGardens.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How did it start? It's 71 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Hawaii is not pursuing a criminal investigation into the wildfires on the island of Maui that have killed 111 people. Hawaiian Attorney General Ann Lopez is conducting what they're calling a comprehensive review, but Governor Josh Green says it is not a formal criminal or civil investigation into the cause of the fire. Green says the review is about learning how Hawaii can keep residents safer going forward. What's your take on how President Biden has handled the economy? Fox's Jared Halpern.
For weeks, President Biden and administration officials have hit the road, highlighting new manufacturing facilities, job growth, and a falling inflation rate. But the latest Associated Press survey finds just 36% of Americans approve of the president's handling of the economy. White House domestic policy advisor Neera Tanden compared the Inflation Reduction Act to the Obama-era Affordable Care Act and support growing over time. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Yeah, the only real estate agent I'd trust to sell my house is Mark Dietel. Listen to what Ben in Indianapolis had to say. I wanted to upgrade into a bigger place, so selling my old place at top dollar was a priority. I hired Mark Dietel, and the team was amazing. I got a great cash offer before going on the market. That included closing costs with no appraisal. I was blown away by the Mark Dietel team.
You got a lot of options in the real estate game, but Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert we trust and recommend with the sale of our homes here at the Hammer and Nigel Show. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date, no long-term contracts, and you can cancel anytime. MarkDietel.com. That's DIETEL. MarkDietel.com, or call 755-4232. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
I really like our plumbers at Howald Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. They know their lines. They know water lines, drain lines, clog lines, pickup lines. Okay, maybe in their younger days. When I was a kid, there was a game show on TV called What's My Line? Our plumbers would have been world champions. Along with Howald Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing having the best plumbers around, they're also very nice, clean, and pleasant guys to have in your home. So the next time you have trouble in the kitchen, laundry, or bathroom, throw us a line at Howald Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, 255-HEAT, where you can trust your flush to us.
Dive into the summer of Jeep with York Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Plainfield. Dreaming of a new Jeep Compass? Yours for just $319 a month. Or take on the new Grand Cherokee at $359 a month. Get employee pricing on a new Jeep Gladiator. You pay what we pay. This month only at York Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Start your next deal at YorkCDJRofPlainfield.com.
We're not number one.
You are.
You're number one at York.
I'm a grandson, a son. I'm an employee and a mentor. I'm a father to 2 beautiful kids and a husband to an amazing wife. And I have a substance use disorder. In other words, I'm living in recovery with an addiction. And now that you know, will you let it change how you see me? It's okay to see my addiction, but I want you to know it's people choosing to see me as a person that changed my life.
See the person, not just their disease. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
I'm so sorry you have just reached my answering machine.
It is time to hear from you with your voicemails, questions, comments, smart remarks, whatever you'd like to contribute. We turn the program over to you at 317-684-8444. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
All right. Yesterday, we had a little segment where we talked about, and I had forgotten this woman was even a person. Like, she was just...
you had moved on already.
Like, I had totally forgotten that she was a thing at one point.
She did not forget about you.
No, boy, she cannot quit me. And look, I mean, have you seen me? How could you possibly blame her? On-demand abortion advocate Destiny Wells. And you, of course, remember her. She is the person who ran such a bad campaign. She got beat by by 14 points by Diego Morales, who is arguably, in the 207-year history of the state, the biggest buffoon slash huckster, fraudster, whatever, to seek public office. And she was so offensive to the voters that she got beat by 14 points.
Yeah.
And a big part of that was because she came out as an on-demand abortion advocate.
Which is weird to have that as your platform when you're running for Secretary of State, which has nothing to do with that at all.
Absolutely. But she is really in. I mean, Destiny Wells is really in, and she was tweeting about it yesterday. I saw where she is all in on you being able to suck the brains out of a defenseless fetus from conception to live birth. I mean, she is down to clown on that. Boy, I bet she's wild to hang out with at parties. Like, what would you talk about? I mean, yikes. Anyway, so I had a little run-in with her, and it's rare, Casey. Like, I tried to take the high road because I was told our dear friend, the Sanchez, Phil Sanchez, said, hey, we want you to come on to my very fabulous unfiltered segment on Wish TV.
That Phil Sanchez, he's like Woody Woodpecker. He's a pot stirrer. He put the two of you on a panel together intentionally.
He knew this, and I told Phil, it's your show, and if you want me to get in the mud, I'll get in the mud. But otherwise, I think this is just like it's a 3-minute segment where everybody kind of gives their opinion and moves on. And me, I can button up and be professional with the best of them. I said, I shall refrain from calling her an on-demand abortion advocate. And boy, we were about 3 seconds into the pleasantries, and she made it very clear she was miserable. She had to be there with me. And she specifically asked, what is it you call me?
Yeah.
And I asked Phil, I said, I pledged you I wasn't going to tell her that, but can I? And he said, well, sure, go right on ahead. She asked. And so I told her what I called her, and it was straight downhill from there.
Yeah.
So we, kind of told that story yesterday, and we had a couple laughs and chuckles about what just a horrible person you have to be running for public office to lose to Diego Morales by 14 points. I mean, yikes. And we had chuckles about that. And she was really mad, though. And this is what really blew my mind, Casey, is it seemed that she was very hung up for 11 months now, 11-ish months, because, let's see, the election ended in November, so that would be about 9, 10-ish, and then I think we gave her the nickname in October.
Yeah.
And so basically for 10 or 11 months, I mean, she's been seething over being called an on-demand abortion advocate, which is crazy because she's very adamant that she is for abortion I've never seen her put a single solitary limit on the abortion Destiny Wells is for or support so why would you be mad? What would you call that?
That's what she is,
right?
Right?
And she's very angry.
She even said it herself that she was talking about you.
Yes.
Someone is obsessing about me and my abortion advocacy. That's what she tweeted out in her picture.
Okay. You want to talk about it? Let's fine. I don't care.
I don't know. There's an ick factor there.
Well, and this. Let's be fair. I told Casey that I would leave it up to her if we wanted to talk about this
because I wasn't the only one who thought so. Multiple people have said to both of us, unsolicited.
Yes.
If you're talking about abortion advocacy, do you want to put a picture of a child in with that? It just. It's weird.
Yeah,
there's an ick factor to that.
Yeah, it's a total disconnection with reality in the world around you. So do you want to read the tweet again? Just we want to make sure we get this right. We don't want to be accused of misquoting anyone. So this is a photo. This is a photo of on-demand abortion advocate Destiny Wells, who embarrassingly lost to arguably the biggest buffoon to ever seek statewide public office, Diego Morales, by 14 points. That's how unlikable she was to the voters of this state. She tweets at me, right? And the photo is a selfie of her and her child.
Yep.
Okay, read the tweet.
She put this out at, I believe, 9:23.
So she was rage
morning.
listening.
Yeah, she was listening to us because we didn't even mention her name.
No, we never said her name. No.
And she said, here, someone is obsessing about me and my abortion advocacy in the radio again this morning, Rob M. Kendall. Can't tune in, listening to more substantive things like Baby Shark.
Oh, can't tune in. So we are led to believe that never saying her name, people were flooding Destiny Wells with various text messages. So there's man, I guess we've got a bunch of hardcore liberals that listen to this. We are so damn entertaining, Casey, that we not only have the people who obsess listen down at the State House, we got a bunch of hardcore leftist lunatics who hang out with Destiny Wells who hate listen too.
We're led to believe between 9 and 9:23 when we teased it. We mentioned it, that you were on TV with somebody, and we never mentioned her name.
Right, that's correct.
So we're led to believe that a gaggle of people called her and said they're talking about you on the radio.
Yes. That's her story.
Okay.
But it is super creepy to make an abortion post, which I think people would interpret that as a pro-abortion post.
Well, she said abortion advocacy.
Yeah, okay,
so
perfect. Yes. And have a photo of your child in the background.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're not being, because you know me, I'm a radical right-winger, totally outside the mainstream. But you are the reasonable one, and you are a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And you are saying, as a mother, that is super weird.
I did. It left me with a weird feeling.
Hard to believe the election didn't go better. And by the way, Destiny can say whatever she wants now. They were begging to be on this show when they thought it would be beneficial for them. Remember that whole thing where they sent me a text message and I was like, lose my number. This is not how we go about in professional society booking interviews. Because they thought, so here's what they thought. They thought Rob hates Diego so much that Rob will support or back anything that is against Diego. When in reality, the great thing about being Rob Kendall Casey is I get to hate everyone equally. I don't have any allegiances. I don't have any, just because I dislike this person, I have to like you. I can dislike you both equally for very different reasons. Diego, because he's a schemer and a scammer and a shyster and a total buffoon. And you, I dislike you because you are for sucking the brains out of defenseless fetuses.
Not me.
No, not you, but Destiny Wells.
Yeah.
On demand with no restrictions whatsoever. That is the great thing about being me, Casey.
So she thought because you thought that Diego was a huckster that you would go to her side.
Yeah, and that is not how that worked out. All right, we did all of this to be said. We've taken up this whole segment. Oh, we did get a phone call about this.
Just wanted to say thank you for the literal crucifixion you applied to the female know-it-all attorney last night on Wish TV 8. It's refreshing someone young and bold like you can think on their feet and slap down this political nonsense with one hand tied behind your back. Keep it up. Thanks.
Did you have one hand tied behind your back?
You'd have to go look at the video. I think I may have had both hands on the microphone, which is my general MO.
Yeah.
Man, we only got to one voicemail, and we got some good ones. So maybe next hour, we'll have to get to some more of these.
We'll get some more in.
But Hammer has so much to talk about. He's got a merch store now.
I know, this is awesome.
Britney Spears is getting divorced.
Oh boy, we got to get his take on this.
Yes.
Hammer's going to join us next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Casey.
What?
Question.
Yeah.
This is a pretty easy one, but I still want you to take your time.
Okay.
All right, ready?
What do you got?
You could even phone a friend if you need to.
Oh, okay, good.
Ready?
Yeah.
What's 12 times 3?
Well, since it's math, I may need to phone a friend.
Yes.
12 times 3, 36.
That is spot on.
Woo-hoo!
All right. Also, you can phone a friend on this one if you'd like. Ready?
Yeah.
How would you like to get a 36% bonus when you invest your money?
I don't need a friend to help me answer yes.
Yeah, so if you invest $100,000, you get a $36,000 bonus. If you invest $200,000, you get a $72,000 bonus.
Good morning. It's Kendall and Casey.
Yeah, that's where you start talking.
And not only can you get a 36% bonus, you get a competitive return, an average of 7% a year for the past 10 years. Plus, your money is backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world. If you'd like to learn more, call Bill Demery. He's your retirement guy. He's our retirement guy right here in Indy at 317-932-9912.
Yeah, this 36% bonus won't last long, so call 317-932-9912. 317-932-9912. Past performances, no guarantee of future returns.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Rob Kendall goes off the rails. We're less than a week away from the first debate. We're going to have fun. 93 WIBC.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Binges, blackouts, regret, shame, trying and failing to drink less or quit. Hi, I'm Jonathan, founder of Or Health. I know how scary drinking too much can be because I struggled with alcohol misuse for most of my adult life. But I also know that it is possible to drink less or quit. And medication can help. Naltrexone is a safe, effective medication that makes it easier to cut back or quit drinking, so you don't have to rely on willpower alone. I started Or Health to make access to naltrexone convenient and private to help people like me regain control over alcohol.
If you're ready to stop drinking or just drink less, text CONTROL to 3232. 3232 to get a secure link to OrHealth's private online assessment. Our licensed medical professionals will evaluate your assessment, and if medication is right for you, prescribe it online. We'll deliver your prescription right to your door. No doctor's office visits required. Text the word CONTROL to 323232 to get started today. That's CONTROL to 323232.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-646-7049 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-646-7049. That's 800-646-7049. What do you have to lose? Call 800-646-7049. Again, 800-646-7049.
With mortgage rates as high as they are, you might be inclined to improve your current space rather than buy, and Galaxy Concrete Coatings can help, especially with your garage, your driveway, your pool deck, your porch, your patio, whatever it is. They'll take that dark, gray, cracked, dirty concrete and make it fantastic. They'll lay down a coating that's 4 times stronger than epoxy. It dries fast, has a really strong hold, the color won't fade, and it's super easy to clean. Call them today in Fishers, 317-751-9070. That's Galaxy Concrete Coating, 317-751-9070. Find them online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just 1 dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Georgia Street tailgates are back, presented by Peterman Brothers, August 19th at 4 p.m. prior to the Colts preseason game. Enjoy tasty food and drinks like Jack Daniels-inspired cocktails or a beer from New Belgium Brewing featuring Fat Tire and Bell's Hazy Hearted served up by Walk-On Sports Bistro. Test your quarterback skills at Academy Sports and Outdoors booth or connect with the VA and more. There will be a DJ mixing on the Jack Daniels free stage and admission is free. The Georgia Street tailgates this Saturday starting at 4 p.m.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the 4-day super sale, August 18th through the 21st, and get 40% off paints and stains with prices starting at $26.69. That means 40% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, get 40% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Right now, take advantage of Rhino Shield's summer savings. Get $1,000 off plus 0% interest for 18 months.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The Home and Garden Show hits the road again this Saturday. Join us at Sullivan Hardware and Garden Center at 71st and North Keystone from 9 to 1 for live music, big green egg demonstrations, and lots of food during Indie Egg Fest with Sullivan Hardware and Garden and 93 WIBC.
It is 10 minutes away from 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And Hammer joins us in the studio. You guys did something really, really cool yesterday. I was so excited for you. Retweeted it. You got merch now.
Yes, Hammer and Nigel merchandise. The merch store is available. This is the first round. We will have multiple rounds. We're going to be adding stuff all the time.
Exciting.
So if you go to store.hammerandnigel.com, don't put the wwws in there. For whatever reason, it screws it up. Just store.hammerandnigel.com. It's on our Facebook and Twitter. You can find it. We've got T-shirts. We've got V-necks. We've got hoodies. Pilsner glasses.
That's great.
So, we're excited.
Will we be bringing back the This Guy Pees Sitting Down shirt?
in due time.
Okay, perfect.
That
Thank
will
you.
come. And also, here in the coming weeks, we may be adding merch for our fellow WIBC
how exciting.
staff members.
Oh, that's
so
exciting.
keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Buy your stuff right now. And if you see somebody out wearing a Hammer and Nigel baseball hat or a T-shirt, just acknowledge it. Hey, I love the shirt.
Yeah.
Because that way they'll know they listen to the station and listen to the show. So that was one big announcement yesterday.
Yeah.
Number two, and Rob, I think you'll like this. You know how the NBA has announced they're going to be doing an in-season tournament this year?
Oh, yeah. It sounds crazy. I don't understand any of it, but I know it's going on.
So the NBA has said they're going to be doing an in-season tournament. Well, the Hammer and Nigel show is going to be doing an in-season tournament as well. To coincide with that, in November, an in-season edition of Biden Madness.
Oh, how exciting!
This year, Biden Madness 3, Biden versus Kamala.
Oh, boy.
So every day, we will have a Joe Biden clip going head-to-head with some nonsense from Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
I love it.
And we'll do that through the month of November until one clip remains.
And you have so much content to choose from. You get a new, option every single day.
From both of them.
Yeah,
From both
exactly.
of them.
And, we'll always be nostalgic on this show for Biden Madness because we carried Velvet to the one shining moment. Happy birthday, Velvet, to the most recent championship.
Yeah. So the in-season tournament edition is coming in November. Now, let's get down to business. We came into this break with Britney Spears music. Mm-hmm. She's now on the market.
Yeah.
This is what I've been waiting for.
I know.
This is it. Now, I talked to my wife last night, and I've got permission to pursue this.
She's in your hall pass? You got a hall pass for this?
And again, not because she is the most gorgeous, perfect woman in the world. It's just like a personal matter.
Yeah.
For like young me, this would mean more than pretty much anything else. So the coupon lady was like, I don't care, do whatever. So to me, that's a yes. So, with Britney now available, that crazy train wreck kooky chick is now on the market. Casey, Rob, Kevin, you're a single guy. Your daughter's in the studio. What do I have to do to better myself to pitch woo to Britney? Kevin, hit the music here. We're going to pretty me up a little bit here.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to make a video. I'm going to try to slide into her DMs. What do I need to do? I got a haircut.
You did get a haircut. Yeah, you're looking good.
I'm losing weight.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Hammer. Daily Mail had an expose on every boyfriend she's ever had. And I think the thing that's working against you, you're too normal.
Yes, you're right.
Too mainstream, normal, good, decent person. You're going to have to really up your scumbag behavior.
Now, I can do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Tattoos?
I have no tattoos.
You showered today, right? That's a problem.
And I have a job. I have multiple jobs.
I mean, look at this. Fred Durst, Jared Leto, Colin Farrell,
K-Fed,
Columbus Short. I don't even know who the hell that is. Those are all in the same year. Jason Alexander. I thought this was the guy from Seinfeld, but it wasn't.
I would have loved it if she would have got drunk and married George Costanza.
Well, with her, J.R. Rodham, I don't even know who that is. I mean, Isaac Cohen, these are not Brad Pitt. You have a shot with this.
So, Casey, if my angle is I can fix you. I'm a little bit older than you are. Not by that much. We're around the same age.
Yeah, she's 41.
Okay, so I'm 45. This is doable here.
Yeah.
If my angle is you need to try something different, I can fix you.
Yeah.
Do you think she'll buy that crap?
I think what really has to happen here, you said, how can we pretty you up? I'm just going to offer in that, women like a man who smells good. So that might help.
I smell like $1 million damn dollars.
Well, but here's the thing. I think you're too good for her. She needs to work on herself to get you, Hammer.
Yeah, you know what, though? I'm not trying to marry her at this point. So...
Well, you would be number 4 if you were.
Okay,
true.
Are you ready for some more names on this list? I mean, I want to give you hope and optimism with this. Howie Day. Who the hell is Howie Day?
Howie Day was a one-hit wonder, yeah.
Adnan Ghalib. Jason Trowick. David Lucado. Charlie Ebersol. Oh,
Naheem not going to work here anymore.
Sam Asghari. I mean, that's the guy she's with now. These are not household. Federline was the guy she had the kids with. There's no past Timberlake, and Colin Farrell was kind of a big name there for a while. There's no Brad Pitt on this list here, Hammer? I mean, you might be in the ballpark.
Deep down inside, she's a country hillbilly from Louisiana, and I feel like I could talk some SEC football with her. You know, there's some Tennessee roots that coming out of my end. I think I got a puncher's chance in this. Like, what do I need to wear? What's my opening line? Because traditionally, back in my single days, my opening line to girls in a bar was stolen from Tim Meadows, the ladies' man. Hey, sweet thing, can I buy you a fish sandwich? And if that
may
doesn't
work for her,
and if that doesn't work, I bring up the time that I blew the whistle in the song Paradise City. Now, it's a total lie, but it's a great conversation starter.
All right,
I think you need some tattoos. I think you need to get grittier to get her.
Okay, you're a betting man.
Yes.
So what? Let's set some odds here. Who would be the odds-on favorite for Britney to end up with next? Hammer or that Anthony Oliver guy who wrote the Rich Men North of Richmond song?
Oh, does she like guys with beards?
Well, I mean, I'm saying, as she said,
I can't grow a beard. It comes in all white, trashy, like Joe Dirt.
It'd be perfect for her. Have you seen these guys on this list?
This guy says that he's going to release some very embarrassing information about Britney if they don't renegotiate the prenup. What could he release that we haven't already seen?
That reminds me of that scene in Bad Santa where Billy Bob Thornton's sitting in the restaurant. If you think you can make my life any worse, lady, go ahead and be my guest.
What's coming up this afternoon?
You, Rob Kendall, Off the Rails, and we're going to have a good time.
Thank you, Hammer. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
Turn to us at Koenig Equipment for sizzling summer savings on the John Deere compact utility tractors you need to breeze through your property projects this season. Right now, get 0% financing for 84 months or save up to $3,400 cash on select 1 and 2 series models. Don't miss your chance to tackle every task on your land for less. Visit us in-store or online at KoenigEquipment.com.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe. The daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Coming up in 2 minutes, who else is planning to run for governor? Plus, how Broad Ripple is getting on after businesses implemented new ways to stop crime. And more kids bringing guns to school today. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
It's the big issue in the race for president. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump's legal issues and how voters will react.
I think Trump's the only one that can get us out of this mess we've gotten into.
No, he's definitely voting for the former president in the first contest state of Iowa, but others aren't so sure, telling Fox.
I like Donald Trump. I voted for him. This time around, it's iffy.
I do think that former President Trump needs to back away.
In a new Fox News poll, 53% believe the former president, who's been indicted 4 times, did something illegal. 20% more say he did at least something wrong. Yet, The former president remains far ahead in the Republican race with a 37-point lead over Ron DeSantis. Vivek Ramaswamy is in third at 11%. That's 42 points back. Everyone else in single digits, including North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, who has to sign the required pledge to back the GOP nominee to be part of next week's first debate. He just told Fox,
I vote for any of those guys on the stage over Joe Biden because when you're wrong on the economy, you're wrong on energy, and you're wrong on national security, that's affecting every American.
Fox News Radio will be providing special debate coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern Time next Wednesday. You can listen at foxnewsradio.com. Now to Hawaii.
Cadaver dogs are moving through the town of Lahaina as our officials searching for the remains of humans as hundreds of people are still unaccounted for.
The number of confirmed deaths, 111, and Fox Weather's Robert Ray reports from Maui.
Many questions loom as to how this fire started, why alarms were not sounded, why more systems to alert people of this tragedy were not in place.
Hurricane Hillary turning in the Pacific. Forecast hit Mexico, and then for the first time since 1939, California could take a direct hit as a tropical storm early next week. That worries Fox meteorologist Janice Dean that desert areas could get heavy rain. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Looks like he's running. It's 73 and mostly cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Brad Chambers recently stepped aside as Indiana's Secretary of Commerce. Now you know why. Today, he has filed paperwork to form a campaign committee as he intends to run for governor. He'd be joining an already crowded GOP primary field. Chambers says his ambitious vision will make Indiana the envy of many. Bar and restaurant owners in Broad Ripple have taken their own measures to try and stop crime from happening, and for starters, they've decided to start closing by 1 a.m. instead of 3 in order to encourage crowds to disperse earlier, and it seems to be working.
Right now, we haven't had any major issues. But that doesn't mean that we won't.
Jordan Dillon on Wish TV. She's the president of the Broad Ripple Village Association. They made the changes after a shooting that killed 3 people that happened there back in June. A student brought a gun to school here in Indianapolis. It was at Arsenal Tech, where IPS says the student brought a loaded gun. The district says all students at Tech are safe. There was also a student who brought an unloaded gun to school in Frankfort today as well. A VA clinic in northern Indiana has been renamed in honor of the late Congresswoman Jackie Walorski. Sasha Nixon reports.
Indiana leaders, including Congressman Jim Banks and Rudy Yocum, went to the unveiling of the Jackie Walorski VA clinic in Mishawaka Wednesday. Yocum tweeted, "Jackie fought tirelessly for our veterans in Congress, and it is a fitting tribute to her incredible legacy that the VA clinic she helped bring to Mishawaka now bears her name." Walorski was killed in a car crash last year. Sasha Nixon, 93. WIBC Mobile News.
And Jerry Seinfeld is coming to South Bend.
Do the people that work in these little shops in the airport have any idea what the prices are every place else in the world? Yeah, $14 tuna sandwich. We think that's fair.
He'll be at the Morris Performing Arts Center October 21st. Tickets go on sale tomorrow, and they range anywhere from $65 to $300. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Does your knee pain keep getting worse? How about that pain in your shoulder or hip or back? Don't let anyone tell you that steroids and surgery are your only option. Listen to me. Call QC Kinetics right now. Tony Katz here, and QC Kinetics can make that pain go away with all natural advanced regenerative medicine. They're helping people every day right here in Indy and around the country with these amazing natural treatments that restore and repair damaged joint tissue. It can be like turning back the clock. Regenerative medicine uses concentrated healing agents from your own body to stimulate that damaged tissue in your joints so they can work like they're supposed to. Got pain due to arthritis or injury? Call QC Kinetics today. The consultation is free. QC Kinetics is in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and now in Carmel. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and now in Carmel. 317-559-PAIN.
Design it before you buy it. For a limited time, receive 40% off all products, plus a free entry door, and 20 months, no interest, no payment.
Trust me. You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. morning. It is Thursday, August 17th. It's 5 minutes after 11. This is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. His name is Rob Kendall. He's on Twitter at Rob M. Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. I'm there as well, Casey Daniels 317. And besides the radio, we're both on YouTube right now. If you type in Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar, I want to let everybody know, later on this hour, we're going to be speaking with Ryan Binkley. Who is Ryan Binkley? We will find out. He's running for president of the United States.
So this is so wild. This dude is legitimately running. It's not like your Uncle Fred. Like the guy he's this uber successful business guy from Dallas. He's also a pastor, and he is getting very close to actually getting the signatures necessary, which is one half of the component to get on the debate stage. He's crisscrossing the country. He's spending a ton of time in Iowa. We found out about him because he actually spoke. He was the featured speaker at the Hamilton County monthly breakfast. And like, oh my gosh, what an interesting guy you've never heard of. And he's going to give us the ins and outs of what it's like to actually run for president of the United States.
Now, we've got to talk about somebody else who is running, not for president, but for governor of the great state of Indiana, and his name is Brad Chambers.
So Brad Chambers was the head of the IEDC, the Economic Development Commission, Corporation, whatever, and that means he is Eric Holcomb's right-hand guy. And so he was one of the guys who was, you may remember, the strong arming of the farmers out of their land out there in Boone County to help mega corporations that are friends with the governor. That's one of his big responsibilities. So what's super interesting about this, Casey, is Chambers is very close with Holcomb and Hupfer. And clearly Suzanne is not close with Holcomb and Hupfer based on the fact that she's been running for a year now and they've refused to endorse her. And so these two establishment super monsters will pull votes from each other, which means if you are Mike Braun and Curtis Hill, you are doing a big old happy dance today because there was a huge concern that if Curtis and Braun are pulling votes from the same block of people, Suzanne Crouch could potentially win this primary with 35% of the vote. Now it appears the establishment lane is going to be divvied up just like the conservative lane. And we got ourselves 6 people, Casey, running for governor. This thing is going to be a zoo the next year. And I love it because they're all going to be groveling for votes.
Now, as far as I know, Suzanne Crouch has raised the most money so far in her fundraising. Now, this Brad Chambers, he's just starting now. They already have millions of dollars in the kitty.
Yeah, but Chambers is going to have, and if you believe the rumors, that Kyle Hupfer is going to be very involved in this guy's campaign. Who knows if that'll actually come to fruition. But it is clear Holcomb is not offering Silent Suzanne
an endorsement.
An endorsement or any help. Clearly, if Holcomb didn't want this guy to run, or Hupfer, they would have told him don't run. They want him in the race, and they're going to put their weight behind him. Because the problem you're going to have is, especially if it's a Curtis or to some extent a Braun, you've got a guy in there who is not beholden to the cabal. Now, Braun did a terrible job when he was a state rep, and we're going to talk a lot over the next year about how Mike Braun actually voted when he had the power to influence policy, and he was a taxer and he was a spender. Don't buy Braun's bullcrap about being a conservative. But Braun, to a certain extent, doesn't play by the same set of rules because he's super rich and independent, and he built his own way into built his own way into the U.S. Senate. Freudian slip there. And then if you couple that with the prospect of Micah Beckwith being the lieutenant governor, well, now the donor and lobbyist class is going to be in cardiac arrest because if you don't control the people in the office, then you don't control how the cards fall down on the table.
Okay, so Brad Chambers, he's the former Secretary of Commerce, just resigned from that position recently, obviously, so he can run for governor. He says, I'm running for governor because I want Hoosiers of today and Hoosiers of tomorrow to believe that Indiana offers an opportunity for an excellent life. So you mentioned 6 people. So we've got Mike Braun, Curtis Hill, Silent Suzanne Crouch, Eric Doden, now Brad Chambers, Donald Rainwater, and Jennifer McCormick.
And then there's another woman who's running for governor, and her name is totally escaping me. She doesn't have nearly the name ID or the waves, making the waves that the others are, and I'm going to get a bunch of hate mail because she has quite a few followers and fans and friends, but they need to do a better job of getting her out there. So there are 6 Republicans running right now. You have Rainwater, who's running on the Libertarian side, and then you've got Jennifer McCormick, who's running on the Democrat side. This Republican primary is going to be fascinating. And the crazy thing is, with 6 people running, there's a world where 25% of the vote wins you this primary. So again, if you're a Curtis Hill, you are now right in this ball game, because if you look at the events Curtis is doing, he's drawing good houses. Now, does that translate into hundreds of thousands of votes? Who knows? But at least the events he's doing, he's either got somebody who stages those photos really well, or he's got quite a few people at these events. Now, Curtis has got a lot of baggage, and he's got a lot of questions to answer. My tendency, though, is to, and this is in no way an endorsement, I'm not telling you to vote for Curtis Hill, would be to support the people that will make Eric Holcomb and Kyle Hupford the most miserable. And that clearly would be, Curtis Hill and Micah in the lieutenant governor spot. So, look, I think it's going to be fun. These people, you've got a whole bunch of people who, let's put it this way, they have trouble being real human beings. And you have a lot of plastic politician people who are running for this office, and it's going to be fun over the next year to watch these people try to human in some shape, form, or fashion.
It is 11 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Let's talk about this loyalty pledge. Donald Trump is refusing to sign the Republican National Committee's loyalty pledge.
Yes.
McDaniel, she's calling it the Beat Biden pledge.
Yeah, you're talking about Ronna McDaniel, who I believe is
the chairperson.
Mitt Romney's niece. She is also the chairperson of the RNC. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so Donald Trump's not going to sign it, and a few other people have signed it so far. So what does that do to the Republican National Committee?
Well, it's a big bind they're in, because they look, you're talking about just smashing record numbers of political engagement if Trump is in this debate, certainly for anything ever done in a primary, and you, me, and Kev being the only ones to watch it if he's not. They need him in this debate. However, he has no incentive to sign this thing, because they need him more than he needs them. And if you don't make him sign it and you allow him to participate, then the rest of your participants are going to be looking around going, well, wait, we got strong-armed into doing this. And then Trump's going to point at him and laugh and go, you guys are big wussies, except he's not going to use the word wussy, and laugh at him. So, I mean, Trump, as he usually does, has these people in a total bind here because they desperately need Trump to participate. However, what do you do if he doesn't play by your rules? You can't let him in. You can't let him do it.
Well, and he's leading the conversation like he does a lot of times. He signed it back in September of 2015, but then by March of 2016, he was no longer sticking with it. So even if he does sign it, who's to say he's not going to rip it up within
There's
months?
no incentive for Trump to sign it, because he doesn't need to be in that debate from a pure political standpoint, and Trump is the master marketer and master showman, and this is his way out of the debate while being immune to the criticism of people like me. Because I will tell you, the fact that he doesn't sign that pledge, and I know why he's not signing that pledge, but I would not sign it either, because I would say, no, I'm not guaranteeing that if it's Chris Christie, I'm going to vote for Chris Christie or Asa Hutchinson. Kiss my ass.
Yeah, he doesn't believe in that.
And so now he gets the immunity of where people like me would be critical, saying you have an obligation to stand up in front of the voters. I still agree with that, but I don't think you should be held hostage to say I have to support whoever wins, because I don't like a lot of you people anyway.
Okay, and speaking of Chris Christie, Morning Joe, that good time Joe, he said that Trump's not going to come to the first debate. Why? Because he's scared of Chris Christie.
I do think he's scared of Chris Christie. He saw what Chris Christie did to Marco Rubio when Chris Christie went into a debate with one thing in mind. He knows Chris Christie put Jared Kushner's father in jail for a very long time. He knows he's a prosecutor who's ruthless and knows how to push his case. And he also knows that his secret sauce in 2016 was being the disruptor, right? Shaking Hillary Clinton up on the debate stage, shaking the Marcos and everybody else up on the debate stage. That gig, that's like 8 years old, right? That's Elvis in 77 now. And I think Chris Christie's got his number. And he knows, like Donald Trump, he's got the gut instinct, obviously. His political gut instinct is second to none. Like, he sees it coming. And so I just don't, I think he's scared to death of Chris Christie and will not have the guts to go or the nerve to go on stage with Chris Christie anywhere.
Do you think Donald Trump is afraid of Chris Christie?
No, I just think Trump knows there's no upside for him doing it. What's he going to go from 60 to 61%? I mean, he said that. He said that with Eric Bolling the other day, and he's honest about it. There's no political upside. The upside is I feel an obligation to be as transparent as possible to the voters. However, the RNC has given him an out by saying, no, I'm not going to lie to people and tell you that I will support Chris Christie or Hutchinson. Not that Hutchinson is going to be on that debate stage, but there's a lot of people up here I don't like, and I'm not going to lie to you people. So they've really given him the out, and I would probably take it if I were him because I wouldn't support all those people either.
Yeah, it's a losing position. He doesn't need to do it.
And then go do a rally or better yet, do something with Tucker on Twitter or Rogan or whoever, and nobody will be watching these people.
All right, you're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Coming up, we've got a few audio clips that we want to hear from Joe Biden and some voicemails with 93 WIBC.
Stopped on 465
From
again.
the north side.
We haven't moved on 37
to the south side.
Avoid south side 465.
To the west side.
Yeah, stopped on westbound 465
to
again.
the east side.
Gridlock all the way through the east side.
Traffic's a bear.
Drove into a ditch through the tree line.
And
just
Matt Bear.
Traffic stop on the right.
He's a beast.
Traffic jam of epic proportion.
Helping you navigate the.
Oh, come on.
And the.
Let's go.
And the. With Matt Bear Traffic, mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
This Sunday, if you are looking for a new church home or even a first church home, please consider checking out. Can't recommend them enough, and I say it from personal experience. My friends at Life Church, they would love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. You've heard me talk over the past year what a great impact Life Church has had on my life, my family's life. Life Church is warm, they're welcoming. I can't say enough great things about them, and they have campuses all across Central Indiana, including Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. And boy, they also have incredible online services. Learn more about it all at lifechurchin.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-646-7049 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-646-7049. That's 800-646-7049. What do you have to lose? Call 800-646-7049. Again, 800-646-7049.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Design it before you buy it. For a limited time, receive 40% off all products, plus a free entry door and 20 months, no interest, no payment.
Trust me. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
I'm thinking that if it weren't for sound bites and your banter between yourself and Casey and whatever that young man is, you really wouldn't have a show anymore.
19 minutes after 11 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. We had talked about airing some audio from Joe Biden, but you know what? You don't deserve that.
Yeah.
Why would we do that to you? We like you, our listeners, so we're not going to subject you to the yelling.
So coming up next, the second half of our hour, we're going to have Ryan Binkley, who is actually running for president of the United States. You may have never heard of this guy, but it's a fascinating story. He's actually closing in on, it would be like the Cinderella story if this guy makes it. He's getting very close to the donors, and obviously there's a polling component to that too. But you're going to get an in-depth look at what it's like to run an actual, again, this isn't, Uncle Frank saying, write me in for president.
Yeah.
It's an actual guy raising money, has hundreds of volunteers. He's spending his whole life in Iowa. He was a featured speaker at the Hamilton County Republican breakfast yesterday. And so we're going to get a really cool, in-depth look at what it's like to run for president of the United States.
He's starting to show up on all the talk shows as well, the news channels. So,
and what he's age in reverse guy. Did you see this dude?
I noticed.
I noticed you now had his photo as your screensaver.
I do not. He's an attractive man.
Casey's like, oh my gosh, have you seen how good looking this guy is? And I said, well, that's not really my taste. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but yes, he's an age in reverse guy. So we'll ask him about that too. So in the lead up to that, we only got to one voicemail because we were very distracted about talking about the implosion of on-demand abortion advocate Destiny Wells the other day. Yeah. Let's get to some more now, Casey. We had proposed yesterday, Kev and I, we came up not only with a great idea, but a business plan for you to make money off an OnlyFans account.
Right.
And the public was just erupted in approval. We got many calls about that.
Yeah, this is a message for Casey from Casey and Kendall Show. Anyhow, you can get 100-fold increase in your OnlyFans account if you include your bikini picture. And if there's pictures from way back when you first came onto the show, someone had mentioned that you had won a wet T-shirt contest. Anyhow, this is Angelo, the poorest conservative in Carmel. Thanks, guys.
Wow.
I think Angelo's the guy who's paying child support until he's, 72 or 74. So Angelo is looking for something else to do with his income.
I was thinking about this last night. I was like, the first picture that I would have to put up would have to be the bikini picture. And I did ask the dude last night about that. He gave me the side eye. Yeah. And I said, what? You're not on board with this?
Here's what you got to do, Casey. And if you're listening, Mr. Dude, we love you. Think of all the collectibles you could buy with that money. You got to.
Now you're speaking his language.
You got to see this.
Now
what
you're
I'm
speaking his language.
Speaking in terms that he will understand.
Right, exactly. Sell it the right way.
Yesterday, Hammer and I and you, obviously, we were talking about writing people's names in if you're very unhappy with the choices for mayor. And Hammer said he may write Abdul's name in, and I had joked there were people who wrote my name in for U.S. Senate last year, and I actually have somebody took a, what do they call that, a screenshot or whatever of the thing, and it's now, they blew it up for me, sent it to me, and it hangs in my office in our building here. And look, no one was being serious like we think, oh my gosh, a writing campaign for Abdul would propel him to being the mayor. We're talking about we hate the options, so you can write somebody's name in protest. I didn't think I was going to be elected to the U.S. Senate because I wasn't running. But there's somebody who really takes our show way too serious.
Hey, this is a message for Hammer and Rob about writing in people on the November ballot. Hammer, I'm sorry to break it to you. You are not going to get Abdul a record number of votes for mayor because in order to be a write-in, you actually have to file to be a write-in, and Abdul did not file. Rob, I'm sorry to break it to you, but your one vote that you got for Senate last year against Todd Young did not actually count by the Secretary of State because you did not file. So if you look at the actual results, none of those votes count.
He's right.
At any point was I like, wow, Casey, if you check the Secretary of State's website, you'll see all of the write-in votes that I got. Or did I jokingly talk about how somebody hated the three options they had, including Duke of Spendenburg, so much, they wrote my name in, and we had a chuckle with that.
Yes, it was all in jest. Nobody was serious.
Nobody appreciates humor anymore, Casey.
Yeah.
No fun of any kind. Speaking of fun, lot of conversation and analysis over your phraseology that you used to describe Eminem and the act that he was doing. And I mentioned that this is a family-friendly show, but I trusted you that you knew what you were talking about. Our residential listener, who is a trucker/underground rapper who called the other day, took some onus with your phraseology and I believe was protesting some of that. And now he has called back with, we had put out an offer, and he is willing to take us up on that.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Rob. Hey, Casey. Underground, small-time, southern Indiana rapper calling again. And I heard what you said about people calling in being passionate about Casey's, but I still consider a mishap with their language and the lingo. And I took to heart what you said about people showing passion. I heard what Kevin said about a rap about property taxes. Challenge accepted.
Oh.
Gotta give me a little bit of time to get home. I'm actually also an over-the-road truck driver. I'm a man of all trades, but I'm going to give that a shot. And I'll find a way to inbox it to you when I get her done.
Oh.
But yes, I will do a song. I will write a rap song about Indiana property taxes.
That man is going straight to the beat lab. And he's gonna lay down some hard tracks. I just know it.
Fantastic. Well, if he needs any help, you can produce it, Kevin.
What are the odds
that it's awesome?
That he does this, and this could be the Oliver Anthony, isn't that his name, or Anthony Oliver, whatever it is, that he is the next rich man north of Richmond, that we could propel this guy to be the next rich man over north of Richmond.
That would be awesome, as long as he gives us a little credit.
I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
All right, Casey, have you ever wondered what it's like to run for president?
No, but we're going to find out what it is like.
Ryan Binkley, who is doing this, you may have never heard of this guy, but he's actually getting very close to the donations necessary to get on the debate stage. He will join us next to talk about, well, who's the biggest jerk of all the people running for president? That and a whole bunch more.
Things we really want to know. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Binges, blackouts, regret, shame, trying and failing to drink less or quit. Hi, I'm Jonathan, founder of Or Health. I know how scary drinking too much can be because I struggled with alcohol misuse for most of my adult life. But I also know that it is possible to drink less or quit. And medication can help. Naltrexone is a safe, effective medication that makes it easier to cut back or quit drinking, so you don't have to rely on willpower alone. I started Or Health to make access to naltrexone convenient and private, to help people like me regain control over alcohol.
If you're ready to stop drinking or just drink less, text CONTROL to 323232 to get a secure link to Or Health's private online assessment. Our licensed medical professionals will evaluate your assessment, and if medication is right for you, prescribe it online. We'll deliver your prescription right to your door. No doctor's office visits required. Text the word CONTROL to 323232 to get started today. That's CONTROL to 323232.
I had changed the locks. Didn't even know where she was living. And then one night she calls to say she's getting treatment. Can I drive? I almost hung up. But then I thought, that's my kid. I chose to put away the hurt and the fear and just see my girl.
Addiction is a disease. Standing by a loved one as they fight it will test your faith, patience, and sanity. But it's possible when you see the person, not just their disease. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org.
Have you lost Indiana Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
What is 988? It's a way forward. It's a listening ear. It's whatever help you need, when you need it. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline offers trained crisis specialists ready to talk to you 24/7. If you or someone you love is experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis in their life, call or text 988. Want more information? Visit 988indiana.org.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Wanting answers? I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. 111 people are dead from the Hawaiian wildfires.
Many questions loom as to how this fire started, why alarms were not sounded, why more systems to alert people of this tragedy were not in place, as people on the ground still are mourning and looking for loved ones as President Biden is set to come into the island this coming Monday. In Maui, Robert Ray, Fox Weather.
There's a hurricane in the Pacific Ocean heading right towards the west coast. Hurricane Hillary is forecasted to intensify into a Category 4 storm with winds up to 130 miles per hour this weekend. The storm is expected to weaken, though, before it hits Southern California. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
65, I was feeling more dead than alive. I was holding
93 WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here, and oh my goodness, Casey, we have somebody who's running for president here with us today.
Is it you?
No, I'm out. You know, I'm very retired.
You didn't get the donors.
Well, I do not want to drop dead of a stroke or a heart attack, but somebody who is willing, for some reason, to subject themselves. I mean, this is like this guy is legitimately running for president of the United States. It's not like, you know, my Uncle Floyd said he's going to run for president, write his name in. This dude is really running, and he's getting very close to potentially qualifying for the debates. You may have never heard of him, but you're about to. Ryan Binkley is his name. Ryan, hello.
Well, hello, Rob. Great to be with you and Casey. It's so awesome to be here in Indiana, overlooking your incredible downtown square. It's beautiful.
Now, I got to be totally candid with you, and this is why you're here to inform people. I had never heard of you before last night. Micah Beckwith, who's our good friend, regular on this show, texted me, said, you got to have this guy on your show. He's an up-and-comer. He is a legitimate candidate for president. You spoke to the Hamilton County GOP this morning. Tell us who the heck you are.
Who the heck I am. I'm Ryan Binkley, and I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
From the great nation of Texas. And I'm married to Ellie Binkley. We got 5 kids. I've been married for 24 years. I'm a CEO of Generational Group. So we do investment banking, middle market M&A. It's grown now to be strategic growth, wealth management, a few other things, software engineering.
Yeah, your clothes look nicer than the clothes I'm wearing, and that explains that you're doing very well.
Guy. And but anyway, we have about 400 employees across the nation, 16 offices. I'm also a pastor. So my wife and I have been in ministry since we got married. In fact, we've always been in ministry. So we did young adult ministry. Then about 10 years ago, we started a church, non-denominational church in Richardson, Texas, right outside of Dallas. And we've been doing that our whole life. And now we're running for president. Felt a call many years ago. Just a dream came to run for president. And then over the years, just praying through that, messages began to come to me. Now's the time for us to run. And I'm sharing with America, we are in trouble and we need an economic revival. That's my expertise in finance. And we need a spiritual, heartfelt revival.
So a lot of people feel called to like help their country, their community. They might volunteer to soup kitchen or pick up trash on a highway. You took the hardest thing possible, which is run for president.
Yes.
Why would you do that?
Well, like I said, that was the word that came to me. We've been pastoring, serving. We volunteer already. So we've been doing that for 30 years, volunteering 15, 20 hours a week in different ways. And so, but this word really is for our country. You know, right now we have a lot of politicians that have a lot of history in their field. And a lot of them are lawyers, but not a lot of them understand finance, economics, cost of capital, debt, what that means to a business, much less a nation. So when a nation's in trouble like we are, we're starting to see the ramifications of a long-term poor fiscal policy.
Yeah.
So when this happens, then that ties the Fed's hands and from a monetary perspective. So we can argue the Fed's horrible, and I would say they are, but they can't really do their job when you deal them a bad hand every year by giving them $1.5 trillion in debt and saying, hey, fix me. So this is my experience in that. I've got some thoughts on, we just launched a 7-year economic rescue plan. So I've got some words for our country.
I have so many questions. Ryan Binkley is our guest. He's running for president of the United States. And people should take you serious. They're like, where did Rob find this guy? On the circle? Was he just wandering around? You've almost got the 40,000 donors required to get into the debate.
I think we'll have it by the end of the day, maybe tomorrow. We just found out we had 7,000 donors yesterday.
How does that happen? How do people find you? Are you just that charming and charismatic? Where?
That is mainly it. Plus, it's our 100 field workers we have out there. We have about 100 field team. So what we found is talking people face to face. You know, there's some people out there doing these gift cards. I don't know if you heard of that.
Oh, yeah, Bergam.
You know, give me $20. I'll give you $1 or whatever. So that sounds nice. But we just decided to do it different. We went grassroots. We got college students, young people, knocking on doors, telling people about our campaign and, you know, saying, hey, if you like this message, because it's a different message. We'll get into this. I'm asking the Republican Party to think different in its time because, our country's broken. And we haven't had a leader think about how do we transcend this division we're in. And I'm speaking to that, but with real solutions. So I'm not just talking about unifying our country for the sake of unity, actually giving us a couple things to work on together. And I believe it's time for that. And people are responding. So
if you want to bullet point a couple of those things, I'd be open to hearing them.
Wow. So first of all, our country is going to be setting the next generation up for likely the greatest economic failure since the Great Depression. I see a perfect storm coming in the next 5-7 years if we don't do something. So what I mean by that, most of America doesn't know the debt we're in. I mean, I had 60 young people at my office at corporate headquarters 2 months ago. I said, how many of you know how much debt we have?
$32 trillion.
One or two. So you guys
very good, Casey. You could work for Ryan. Congratulations.
You guys, listeners are knowing because y'all are knowledgeable. But, the track record we're on in 8 years is for it to be about $50 trillion. So with this path we're on, and that's going to move the largest expense that we have in the federal government to be interest payments, which we don't have the money to pay. So that's going to move from 8% to 12 or 14%. So how do we get out of it? Well, we borrow money. We roll the printing presses to pay this. So we've printed 40% of our nation's money supply just in the last few years. So the reason we have inflation, 30% on big stuff, rent, mortgage, gas, fuel, shelter. Only if you need to eat or drive somewhere does this impact you. And it's destroying the country. And so here's what's happening. Banks are trying to rescue us from inflation. The central bank is by raising rates. This is going to slow down the economy. So we see this right now. Mergers and acquisitions is down 15% in the United States. That's how companies grow. You can't buy a house, can't buy a car. Everything's going to be – the average family is spending $700 more a month right now. So the options are this: hyperinflation, expansive inflation the next 5 to 7 years, or a balanced budget. Let's do something we haven't done in 30 years. That's what I'm suggesting.
Ryan Binkley is our guest. He's running for president of the United States. So you got here. You're from Dallas. I assume you didn't walk. Like, you've got to have a legit infrastructure to
get the money to fly.
Yeah. So this is where do you start? I'm so curious. Like, if I were to say and you can tell us how you did it. I want to run for president. I would have no idea how to start. How do you even start running for president?
Well, we actually started a couple years ago. We started traveling to, South Carolina, North Carolina, Missouri, speaking with business leaders in churches. I started talking to people about getting involved in government and just, getting the message resonate in my heart that we have to start owning this process, and we began doing that. Then I just went with a team of people, shared with our vision and some supporters, and we decided to make the announcement in April of this year in Dallas, Texas. We had about 800 people there, and it was fun.
I don't even have 800 friends. You got 800 people to come to a campaign event. That's
absolutely
amazing.
Yeah. You should see it. It's out there on our website, Binkley 2024. A lot of people say this: Ryan, it's a great speech, but your wife, she was amazing. So my wife Ellie knocked it out of the park. So, but our message is resonating because it's time for us to stop this division that we're in. There's no way we can solve the big problems we have by throwing darts at each other all day on Friday and say, oh, by the way, come work with me on Monday. That's not the way leadership works. We haven't had anybody transcend our party since Reagan. And so we are talking about real issues: the border, the budget, health care. How are we going to end a war? How are we going to solve the urban America education? Big problems. Republicans can't do it on their own. We're going to have to think different.
Is it weird the way it's done to qualify for the debate? Let's face it, if you don't get on that debate stage, that's lifeblood. You got millions of eyeballs. You need to be up there. You've got, till Monday to make it. Is it weird that you have to beg people for $1? Like, we were laughing about Mike Pence not making it, and that's pathetic that someone with his name ID couldn't do it. But you got the Burgum guy who's basically buying the votes. He's doing it legally, but he's basically legally buying people's votes. That seems like a really crappy way to decide who's viable, of who can bag enough people for $1.
Yeah, that's it. That's a bad plan. So, we've just been sharing our message with people. Like I said, we got field workers out there, and they're just talking to people, sharing our vision. And, it's been great. So we've been able to get it. It's been snowball effect in the positive. But, our track has been Iowa. So most people don't know how important Iowa is in this caucus state for the grassroots candidate, which I am. So I've been to 62 counties in Iowa. I'm there every single week for the last 3 months. And we are sharing with people, sometimes 5 and 6 meetings a day. I mean, we're putting miles on a pickup truck I took up there, and we are visiting with people because Iowans expect you to be in their living rooms, in their breakfast tables, at the restaurants, talking about, why do you believe what you believe? Convince me.
Is that weird to have to be as invasive as possible to people? Because that seems like counterintuitive to what people would normally want.
It's amazing. They love the process. Iowans love the process. They love talking politics, and they really appreciate their position and how they help. I would say this: not show who the winner is, they're setting the field. If you're the top 4 or 5, this field gets windows down, top 4 or 5. That's kind of the field going into New Hampshire and beyond. So they kind of vet the candidates, I would say that more than anything. But it's good to be there. That's our track that we're taking right now. We're just now getting national media.
Are you making it in polling?
We've guys gotten a couple polls this week.
Okay.
Last week, one major poll, national poll. We were in another one in Iowa here recently. A bunch are coming out this week. And so we are praying. If anybody calls you, by the way, Ryan Binkley is your candidate, right? So
if any national polling companies call you.
I'm talking to everybody here in Indiana
Okay,
right now.
let's say you make it on the debate stage. Ryan Binkley is our guest. He's running for president of the United States. What's your website, by the way? You're being very good, very good guest.
Binkley2024.com.
Okay, perfect. And you can they could give you $1. That gets you what you need, right?
They can give $1 million if they go to the PAC. No, I'm kidding. But somewhere between $1 and $6,600.
So like right now, if I were, how does this work? I'm very curious. So if, like right now, I don't do anything on the internet. We talk about this all the time. If I were to hand this very lovely assistant of yours $1 and say, this is for Ryan, does that count or does it have to be online?
No, you can we have an envelope for you both today and we expect it. So we will have a
assumptive close right there.
That's why he's a successful business guy.
I carry a collector with me everywhere I go. They're right here in studio.
It's like being at church.
If you had a camera, you could see these two guys. And but anyway, we have an envelope. You put your name, and address on it, and occupation, email, phone number. We'll only call you once a week. And I'm kidding about that. But we will. It counts.
Ryan Binkley is our guest. He is a candidate for president of the United States. He is getting very close to getting the 40,000 individual donors needed to get on the debate stage. And when we come back, we're going to ask him the question everybody, I'm sure, wants to know. Who is the most obnoxious person running for president on the Republican side in 2024? Goes to all these events. He's around these people. Who is it? Who's the absolute worst? It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, of course it's political. But what are you going to do about it? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
How would you like to free up some serious cash? Or at the very least, cut your monthly payments by $1,000 or so each month? Hey, what's up? It's Hammer here from the Hammer and Nigel Show. People are doing that every day with Loan Pronto's all new Equity Express line of credit. Listen, your home value is way up, and Loan Pronto can help you access the equity without touching your primary mortgage. You can get tens of thousands out with very little paperwork and usually without an appraisal. With Loan Pronto, you can get $50,000 or $100,000 out right now. Pay off all of those 27% interest credit cards or your personal loans. For every $10,000 of debt that you consolidate, you can cut your monthly payments by nearly $500. Stop paying insane credit card rates. Call Loan Pronto right now. 317-953-6525. 317-953-6525 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Your neighbor Edwin is a lot like you. She loves summers in Indy, but she hates to paint, so she called Rhino Shield.
So over the years, I had to touch up the house. I just got to the point where I couldn't spend any more money on the outside of the house. And when I saw Rhino Shield, I thought that was the answer to my problem.
Rhino Shield specifically formulated for our climate. It's better than paint.
I'd had painters here before, and it was usually quite a disaster with them leaving their equipment here and picking up things in the yard. But Rhino Shield was right on it.
Right now, take advantage of Rhino Shield's summer savings. Get $1,000 off plus 0% interest for 18 months.
The gentleman said, if you're interested, give me a call. And I said, honestly, can you come tomorrow?
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The always ready for breakfast deal.
Going to bed already? Yep. Breakfast at Mickey D's tomorrow. So, sooner I go to bed, sooner it'll be morning. Sooner I'll be at Mickey D's.
This is actually brilliant.
You can come too. Turn out that light.
There's a deal for every breakfast strategist at McDonald's.
Right now, try our 2 for $5 breakfast with tasty options like a sausage McMuffin with egg. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Single item at regular price.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Georgia Street Tailgates are back, presented by Peterman Brothers, August 19th at 4 p.m. prior to the Colts preseason game. Enjoy tasty food and drinks like Jack Daniels-inspired cocktails or a beer from New Belgium Brewing featuring Fat Tire and Bell's Hazy Hearted served up by Walk-On Sports Bistro. Test your quarterback skills at Academy Sports and Outdoors booth or connect with the VA and more. There will be a DJ mixing on the Jack Daniels free stage and admission is free. The Georgia Street Tailgates this Saturday starting at 4 p.m.
I am the morning DJ at WOLD.
We're learning what it's like to run for president of the United States. 93 WIBC. It is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob Casey's here. Ryan Binkley is our guest. He is running for president of the United States. He is getting very close to the 40,000 donor threshold required to qualify for the debate stage. And Casey, before I bombard Ryan with several radical right-wing Republican questions, I will turn the floor back over to you.
You have mentioned we have to stop shooting arrows at one another, and Republican Party can't do it alone. Give me one thing that says you're wanting to work with people on the other side to make anything happen.
You know, we can't accomplish anything together if we don't give us something that really affects us all. So let's just take healthcare. You know, I've talked about the budget, so that impacts us all. We're going to have to look our kids in the camera and go, sorry, kids. We couldn't do it. Here's $50, $60 trillion in debt. I'm going to the lake now. Good luck. If we do that, we'll be known. I'm 55. We'll be known as the generation that...
There's no way you're 55. I don't believe you at all.
I am 55. That prospered the most but sacrificed the least. We will be known. We have had more wealth come in our country in the last 40 years. Look at all the wealth that's come in. And all we had to do is balance the budget or get somewhere near in a healthy spot. We couldn't do it, kids. Sorry. Now you got hyperinflation. If you could go back in time 1 year before the Great Recession or the Great Depression, 2 years, and go, what could we have changed? We're in that moment now. There's some trouble coming. So I would fix that. That's a bipartisan plan. But I got to look in the camera of America as president and go, here's why we need to change. Here's why we need to do this. I have to tell them the truth.
You've got tens of thousands of people that will hear this today, and so they're going to want some dirt and some gossip, and this may make the difference in terms of you getting donations.
Dirt and gossip.
Who is the biggest a-hole that you've had to deal with on the campaign trail? Which candidate is the absolute worst?
Which candidate?
Yeah, I mean, which guy?
There's other a-holes. I was about to name several, but now you're talking.
Is it Christie? It's got to be Christie.
Say Mike Pence. Say Mike Pence.
Honestly, I am going high here. Remember Reagan?
Yeah.
The godfather of Christian conservative. I mean, I can't speak evil of a fellow Republican.
Oh, my goodness,
so
you're
I'm
missing an opportunity
I'm not
here.
taking that bait. They're all good. They're all better than Biden. Let's remember who the enemy is, all right? Let's remember who the enemy is.
There's not one of these guys that if you're in an event, you're like, oh, no,
okay, but you know
Asa
what?
Hutchinson
There's
is here.
There's some people I'm having coffee with, some people I'm having dinner with, okay? But I'll leave it at that.
But Ryan, okay, so you said let's remember who the enemy is, but we've had many Republicans who have voted for the Inflation Reduction Act, which isn't reducing inflation. You know, a lot of people get into office, they campaign on one thing, and they get there and they don't do it. So why should we believe you?
Well, you know, I'm not looking for another job. You know, I'm very blessed in my career. It's not a career step for me like that. I mean, I say this, I want the position. I feel I'm called to lead it, and I feel I'm the best candidate for it because what I have planned to do. That said, I have a track record of leading a business. You know, my business has payroll. I've got 350, 400 employees now. We have to meet payroll. I believe the federal government should meet payroll. I don't think we should just dump this off on for generations to come. If we worked hard at it today, we couldn't pay off this debt in 30 years if we were making an effort. The problem is we're not even making an effort. When it comes to unifying our country, you know, I'm not going to be able to sit here and speak evil of somebody because that's just not who I am. I pastor church on Sundays. So at the end of the day, I can disagree with you. We may all disagree, but we should be able to do it in a respectful way and say, listen, even though we may be polar opposites on some social issues, may think each other is crazy, this is what I believe. We're all Americans. I think everybody has the best thought about how to improve our country. Let's pick some things we can agree on. For example, can we all agree that 12% of kids in urban America that are reading at the 8th grade reading level need help?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then let's do something about that. Can we all agree that 40% higher inflation than regular inflation?
Absolutely.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
Can we agree that that's right? Can we work on it? So let's work on that together. Can we agree that we have 300 people dying a day of fentanyl coming across our southern border, and for 50 years we're not doing anything about this standoff, I would call it, between Republicans and Democrats, because they can't get together, because if they do, they lose their base. Are you kidding? How many people? I'm telling you, how many people have to die a day before we're willing to work together? All right, 1,000, 1,200? Just tell me, then I'll put it on my calendar.
All right, I want to be very clear. I think I'm going to give you $1 just because you've been great on the show, and I don't even know if I'd like you or not as a politician yet, but I want to see you on the debate stage to get an idea. And you're not Chris Christie, so
I haven't convinced you yet.
Well, look, 16 minutes.
I just saved your grandchildren's financial future.
Is it real serious
and
question?
Everybody else is going to spin it in oblivion. And I'm the only candidate, by the way, with a 7-year plan to balance the budget. Not one of the top candidates is thinking about it. And here's why. They don't think they can lead to get it done. So they want to throw out executive powers. They want to expand the office of the presidency. Just say no thanks.
Is it hard, because you're a very nice guy and you're very reserved and you're very you look at you and say that's a normal dude who would be a central casting president of the United States. In the world of Trump, is it hard to stand out, because it doesn't seem like many people want that anymore? They kind of want the floor show when they go places.
Here's what's happening now. People want to win. President Trump did a lot of great things, but I think all your listeners may know he only won 46% of the vote in the last 2 elections. He lost 46 of the top 50 cities by population. The Republican Party, this is one of my messages. We have to go beyond 46. 46% of the vote's not going to get it done. President Trump today, I like a lot of things he did. Can he even unify the party, much less the country? The answer to that's clearly no. There is a movement that's happening, and so it's not going to coalesce around that anymore. And then how is our party going to grow? Are we settled on 46%? Do we think losing the minority vote consistently? College students, 70% of college students voted for Joe Biden. 80-something-year-old Joe Biden. Don't we recognize we're not
which is really interesting, because by 2033, their Social Security is going to be gone. It's not going to be there.
Here's what's happening. We don't even connect to them. We don't have a message that connects them or a messenger. So what I want to do is say this. I want to ask college students, listen, you may not agree with me on everything, but let's start a volunteer movement like the Peace Corps. I could have hundreds of thousands. This is my goal. Hundreds of thousands of college students volunteering 5 hours a week, mentoring kids in 3rd grade how to read. Let's do that together. Let's do something different to change the culture of our country. Let's start a job movement for urban America. I want to start the trade movement again, vocational skills. We're letting people come out. Only half of them are going to college or graduating. Let's teach people how to be a plumber, electrician, let's do something different than what we've been doing. Let's dive into urban America and not ignore it. We'll win some.
All right. If people want to know more about you, your plans to fix the country, your just general, who the heck is this guy? How do they find out about Ryan Binkley?
Well, go to Ryan Binkley 2024, or Binkley, Binkley2024.com, and follow us on social media as well. We've got a great platform on all of them, but that's where we put our schedule. We're in Iowa a lot, so you haven't heard a lot of us on national news because our money is going to Iowa and New Hampshire. We're not, we're growing. And so, but I think we're going to get to that debate stage. We hit the polling this week. You'll see us there.
All right, Ryan Binkley. You find him Binkley2024.com. Good luck, and I expect if you make it to that debate stage, at some point you're going to say, Rob's dollar made all the difference.
I think it would, and have me back, and we'll talk about just the difference that made. I'd love to.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
That is going to do it for us today. Casey, well, need I say more, usual outstanding job. Great job as well. Kevin, hope you have a great rest of your day. Be sure to stick around. Tony Katz coming up next. Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC. Hey, Casey, what's 12 times 3?
It's 36.
You're so good. Follow-up question. How would you like to get a 36% bonus when you invest your money? So, if you invest $100,000, you get a $36,000 bonus. If you invest $200,000, you get a $72,000 bonus.
Hey, it's Kendall and Casey. Not only can you get a 36% bonus, you also get a competitive return, an average of 7% a year for the past 10 years. Plus, your money is backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world. To learn more, call Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy, at 317-932-9912.
This 36% bonus won't last long, so call 317-932-9912. 317-932-9912. Past performance is no guarantee of future returns.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown, and my hairline was starting to recede. I went to We Grow Hair Indy, and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indy. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
Wake up, people. You're optimizing every waking hour of your life. From carpooling kids to work to friends and everything in between. You have to get sleep and a bed that can perform as well as you do. Meet the next generation Sleep Number Smart Bed. It effortlessly adjusts to your shape, position, and movements, learning how you sleep so you learn to sleep better night after night. Sleep next level, only from Sleep Number.
It's the biggest sale of the